But there's so much more work to be done. And that's why now is not the time for re-entry into the city of New Orleans, especially as we determine how the city may need to respond to the needs of our surrounding parishes as well. We will be a neighbor, and we will be a good neighbor in spite of the challenges that we have. Again, if you evacuated, we're asking you to stay where you are. We will notify you as soon as possible when it's safe for you to come home. And this is mainly associated with a lack of power sources in our city and throughout the city. Residents that are here now in the city of New Orleans and visitors, we need you to be careful. We need you to stay in your homes, stay in your neighborhoods. Now, you've heard me say many times, the residents are first responders amongst themselves in their neighborhood. We'll be working closely with our New Orleans City Council members, side by side, addressing district-wide and neighborhood issues in terms of how we can respond in real time and as best as possible where you are in the neighborhoods that you're in. Neighborhood leaders, we know who you are. You know us as well. Reach out if you can. We have been compromised. But one thing that we also recognize is that we still have the ability to send text messages. AT&T and Entergy are doing everything that they can. Sonia Perez, the president of AT&T, we've been in direct communication. They're boots on the ground, and they're going to help us in the meantime stand up remote operations for cell phone charging and the like. But again, more to come. I believe this time it's going to be best for us to pivot to those assets in neighborhoods. But again, more to come. We're planning this out now. We were also planning for, in the event we should need to stand up a post-disaster evacuation. Doesn't look like that is something that we have to do at this time. But we had to make sure we planned accordingly to therefore face the challenges in order to address the needs of our people. As I mentioned, our people in our city, our residents, need to stay put. Again, power and communication are critical issues, and you are going to hear again more from Entergy as well as AT&T. Nothing has a quick fix. But what I also understand in terms of power, and you'll hear a little bit more, we are not in the same situation as we saw our brothers and sisters in as it relates to Lake Charles relative to power sources. But boots on the ground with Entergy, Ms. Rodriguez will give you more. While the power is down and we are dependent on generators, I'm calling all of our people and businesses that have the capacity in the city to be good neighbors, as I know you will be. Now, I have heard a little rumors, and we're going to fact check about people being displaced from hotels. We're going to follow up with that after this press conference. I just got that information actually prior to coming out. So I don't have any official responses for you relative to that. It could be associated with their lack of power or generation capacity. We don't know. But for the businesses that we know or they know have the capacity to provide some source of power to the community, we ask for you to notify the city again and be good neighbors. Share the power you have. Open your businesses for the people to recharge their devices as well as meet their ongoing needs. That's how we're going to get through this. No doubt about it. That's how we got through it, even in the aftermath of Katrina. Neighbor to neighbor, shoulder to shoulder, working in partnership. I'm proud of our city. I'm proud of our people. The resiliency, it shined through the darkness that Ida brought our way. But we're going to continue to be the light in the city of New Orleans. And we're going to shine brighter than we've ever shined before because we've proven our ability to be prepared. We've proven our ability to hold the line. And I want to thank the federal government, the President Biden, who I will have to leave here about 12:30 to take that call. But the federal government's response was right on. Having a declaration granted in the middle of the night, spot on. That's something that we should be grateful for. More information will come to you about that federal declaration that therefore drives the response of FEMA. We're going to make sure that that information is not only shared, but in partners in terms of our media. You're partners in this. And as partners, we're going to make sure that we communicate effectively to our people so that they can respond the way that we need them to, as it relates to getting information, but also accessing resources like FEMA. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to turn it over to Colin Arnold, as you know, who serves as our Director of Homeland Security. We're going to run through many different speakers that are essential to this response. We also have our council members who are standing with us. We're going to move through, and I'll take Q&A afterwards. But you know how this works. But thank you all so much for your partnership. Thank you all so much for your response and your commitment and dedication. Colin Arnold.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you know, good morning, good afternoon. As you know, Hurricane Ida moved out of our area early this morning after sitting over New Orleans for really a day. We have significant impacts in the city, but I want to take a moment to recognize how well we fared given our circumstances, and to let the neighbors to our west who have seen far more widespread and serious impacts that our thoughts are with you. Our levee system operated without incident. 911 remains out of service. Tyrell will cover that a little bit more. It's out throughout the region. And all of our parishes without power, and you'll hear more about that from Energy. This is still an extremely hazardous situation. Starting very early this morning, when it was safe to do so, public safety personnel from police, fire, and EMS started assessing damage across the city, and we know that there is widespread debris blocking roadways, and many damaged and destroyed structures. There are many trees and limbs down, and many down power lines. I want to say at this time, for residents in your homes, realizing right now connectivity is an issue, battery life is an issue. If it's safe to do so, I would suggest you get pictures, right? You may not be able to do what I'm about to tell you, but you'll have the pictures in your phone. You can go to, at any time, damage.la.gov, damage.la.gov, and you can enter in those photos and document that damage. And this will be incredibly helpful to us, to the state of Louisiana, and to eventually, when these types of assistance programs open, to the federal government. It can all be tracked from that site. It's not your application, it's not anything like that, but it's a good start. And again, that's damage.la.gov, realizing that it may be a little bit before you get connectivity or you can charge your battery, but have those ready to go, and only do that if it's safe. Just because the weather is past, obviously that does not guarantee that it's safe to be out and walking around. We ask you to remain home, near your home, remain off the roads. As the mayor mentioned, and I really want to stress this, if you evacuated from the city, take a breath. We're doing good here. We're doing well, okay, under the circumstances, but it's not the time to return. There is damage, mainly debris in the streets. There's power. I want to be completely real with you. There's not a lot open right now. There's not a lot of fuel resources. There's not a lot of reason to come back. And I want to add, with COVID, if you get hurt while you're here from debris or from anything, or you have some sort of medical issue because it's going to start getting warm again this week, hospitals are strained right now. So it's just not a good time if you're out of the area to come back in, and we're going to let you know when it is, okay? Our EOC upstairs, Emergency Operations Center, still activated. Everybody's still up there. We're really transitioning into this kind of situational awareness and damage assessment. We're trying to, get our arms wrapped around the complete content of what is out there right now and what we need to address. The Health Department, the Fire Department, and the Louisiana Department of Health, our partners, are working with residents who have power dependence, dependency for medical reasons. As part of this initiative, we're opening an oxygen exchange across the city where residents who are on oxygen can swap out tanks for a full tank free of charge. The locations will be open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They are at fire stations. Fire station number 1 at 2920 Magazine. Fire station number 36 at 5403 Reed Boulevard. And fire station number 40 at 2500 General de Gaulle. Okay, if you have an oxygen need and can't get to these sites or have any kind of issues, call our special needs registry at 504-658-2558. That's 504-658-2558. As I mentioned with the damage.la.gov, which I cannot say, it's just a terrific resource. We're working with our state and federal partners, getting that initial ball rolling with damage assessment and working towards those assistance programs that are so vital to our recovery. And there will be much more information about that. We have a number of organizations and individuals who want to help, and efforts, volunteers, donations. Love it, appreciate it very much. But we're right in the beginning of this, okay? We want to make sure that this is coordinated. So the best way to help in the immediate aftermath, what's going on right now, is to donate money to organizations that are on the ground assisting. And we have a list of those at ready.nola.gov. Please utilize that as a first resource in trying to help us here, and it's greatly appreciated. Understand that we're still in response mode right now. And so donations and all these things, they're great. We're going to be coordinating those donations. We ask you, let us take a breath. Let us, really get moving on where we need to be. We'll provide more information again at ready.nola.gov. For updates, text NOLA READY to 77295. Follow us at NOLA READY, and I'll say it one more time, ready.nola.gov and damage.la.gov. It will help us out. It will help you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin, very much. And we're going to keep it going. Ramsey Green, who is our Deputy CEO of Infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thanks, folks, for being here. Today is a very different outcome than the day after Hurricane Katrina 16 years ago. Largely, homes are not flooded, businesses are not flooded. The HISDR system did what it was supposed to do, and largely our joint infrastructure work did what it was supposed to do when a storm like this came. And that is should give our residents, whether they're here or elsewhere, a moment to just acknowledge what that means. That this city, as the mayor said, really held the line. We are assessing, and that assessment started very early this morning before daybreak. What we're seeing is debris all over the city, debris everywhere. If you imagine debris, it's there. Trees, newspaper boxes, stuff blown over, awnings, roofs, shingles, power lines that are down. Stay home, but if you want to start working on your home and you want to put debris together, put it on the side of the roadway. We have debris contractors who are assessing for eventual mobilization later this week. But again, we are assessing all of our operations at this moment. There are throughout the city small pockets of standing water. The reason for that is because there is so much debris out there that it is blocking our drainage catch basins or clogging our subsurface drainage lines. That is what we are seeing. The system, and Ghassan will cover this a little bit more, but the sewage and water board system is where it should be in terms of drainage. What we believe are those pockets of flooding need to be cleared, and that's what we're focused on at this moment. At this moment, our infrastructure operations are focused on public rights-of-way, clearing them, making sure that we have public safety can navigate around, that Entergy and its contractors can navigate around, and our infrastructure operations can move. But we will be clearing those pockets where that standing water sits. We have a contract.
Tornado warning moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. And here it is. Let's zoom into Saraland area. It's the little spot that you're going to see right around Saraland. It looks like some brown pixels here on the screen. This is with our velocity imagery. It just spun up. And this is what we've been seeing with these storms this afternoon and this morning. We've been seeing these things spin up very, very quickly with very little warning on these because this is just sort of embedded within the flow here of the storm. And there it is right in Saraland. There's Satsuma High School. There's Saraland. So that's Saraland proper. Right there, there's a circulation and is working its way off to the north. So this is going to head basically parallel to Highway 43, head up to 65, the 65-43 intersection there. So this is going to go across 65 as well. So we're going to be watching this one here for the next little while. Once again, another quick spun up tornado possibility here, dealing with what's left of Ida. It's still a tropical storm out there, but it's weakening very swiftly, but it's still dragging through these bands of rain that are going to continue to have the possibility of tornadic activity. You can see that right there. I'm going to zoom us in a little bit tighter so you can get a closer look, and I'm going to stop the looping as well so we can get a fix on exactly where we're talking about right now. I mean, this is right in Saraland proper. It's where you see these bright colors right here. That's the signature here of the circulation. So we have this right on top of Saraland. There's Saraland here, Highway 43, Satsuma up here, and it's right on top of town there, and it's working its way off to the north at around 20 miles per hour. So this is like any other tornado warning. You need to get inside, get away from the windows, get into the interior room, let this pass by, and it will pass by quickly. And just as quick as these things spin up, they can spin right back down. We've seen that over and over again as we've gone through the day, that these have spun up very quickly and spun down very quickly as well. They don't last very long, so that's likely what we'll see here as well. But for now, it is in Saraland, headed towards Satsuma, headed up towards I-65. Let me show you what the overall storm looks like, what we're seeing here through Mobile County. Some extremely heavy rain. And this is like, once again, feeding into Ida, and it's just this constant flow of moisture, and we have this heavy storm right on the back edge of all this. And you look at this, it actually dries up behind this. So once we get through this, it does dry up behind this. Now, it doesn't dry up completely. We'll have some scattered showers and storms for the rest of the day, but certainly a big improvement over what we're seeing right now across much of Mobile County, where the heavy rain is falling, and certainly up around Saraland right now, where we are getting the possibility of a tornado. And let's go ahead and get that back up there again. This is the area we're talking about, up around Saraland and Satsuma, and there it is. It does show a pretty well shown signature here. It does show up pretty well right through here. It's Highway 43, there's Satsuma, of course, I-65, and this is the area we're talking about, right in through here, working its way off to the north at about 20 miles per hour. And so, once again, this is what we expected today. We had the atmosphere being what it is with the tropical system. You get these quick spin-up tornadoes, and we're continuing to see them here today, especially on the front side of the line. We saw those earlier in the panhandle of Florida, and now on the back side of the line, we're seeing them as well. So we're seeing this right here, Saraland. So Satsuma High School, right up Highway 43. This is the area where you need to be taking shelter. Now, if you're in Mobile proper, no worries. This is north of you. In Pritchard, no worries. This is north of you. If you're out in Wilmer or Sims, no worry. This is far to the east of you. This is really only for Saraland, Satsuma, and going up Highway 43. Nobody else is being impacted by this possible tornado. So it's a very limited area that is seeing it, but it is basically right through the populated part of Saraland, headed up to Satsuma. The rest of the county, so if those sirens have gone off, sorry, they're all connected to the same button, so they all go off all across the county. But this is what they went off for, just for this cell right here that is passing up and over Highway 43, up 43 towards 65 in Satsuma is where it's at right now. In fact, it's pulling away from Saraland, so now we're seeing the signature up here around Satsuma at I-65, so up there. And nobody else right now is involved in this warning at this point. It will continue to work its way here north of 65. I'm going to kind of jog this down. So Axis and Salco are the next communities that could be impacted by this possible tornado, and it'll continue working its way off to the north. I'm going to back this thing out. We're going to stop it for a second, and I'm going to put up a cone to kind of give you an idea of some of the areas that could get impacts off this. So obviously it's in Satsuma now. In just a a little bit here as well up in Creola, and then we got 1242. We've got Axis, and if it holds together that long, which it likely would, 117 Latham. So for the most part, we're talking about the next 20 to 30 minutes, really watching very carefully right in through here. That's Highway 43, Mount Vernon and Chastang, and it's going into across the Delta here, and heading out into the Delta. So eventually it'll do that. But for now, right now, it is in Satsuma. So we're going to have to closely monitor and watch this. I'm going to get you back on the radar here, and you can really see how heavy that rain is in and around through Mobile County. So very, very heavy rain here through across Mobile County. I'm going to give you a loop here, too, so we can see what it's been doing. Unfortunately, it's been rather slow. And that's been a big part of all this as well. We've seen this line itself drop 3 or 4 inches of rain just by itself because it's been moving so slow. So this is a 1 hour loop, and it was in western Mobile County. Now it's in eastern Mobile County. It is moving somewhat, but it's moving fairly slow. And we got the heaviest part of it here around Saraland. The tornado warning right here at 43 and 65 around Satsuma and Creola, and it's working its way north. So we've had one at least possibility of a tornado within this line. Same thing we've been dealing with all morning long. Quick spin up tornadoes. They're generally not very strong, but goes over your house, not a good deal for you. All right, so that's why I want to keep everybody safe, stay inside. Regardless of whether or not you're around where that possible tornado is, you don't want to be driving through this. I imagine it looks pretty rough out there in the Bayway and the Causeway right now, having to deal with that, because that's the heart of it's going right now over the Bayway and the Causeway. So they're getting some very heavy, blinding type rain. And you know, there's a lot of folks in our area that evacuated from areas farther west. And, you know, hopefully they'll hold off a little while before they evacuate or get themselves back home. Let this all pass by. Let this nastiness get out of here. Plus, a lot of the areas off to the west in Louisiana, they still don't have power. So you may want to hold off longer if you can anyway. So here's how it looks on the radar. Once again, we're looking at this area here just to the north of Satsuma, up around Creola. And it's still showing up. It has broadened out a little bit. But we have, according to the National Weather Service, they have been seeing some debris in there. So I'm going to pull up the debris here for us, see if we can't find that as well. It takes a second for it to load, but once it does, they are saying that they are catching some debris on here. And this is up around the Saraland. There it is. Shows up very clearly, actually. Right up there at 65 in Satsuma. That is a definite debris signature. So we've had a tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground up here in I-65, right at Highway 43. So this is right where you're getting on the bridge. There's a little landing here for folks to put their boats out. So that's right where that has gone over. That is a debris signature, very clear one, the most clear one that we've had by far here today. So there is debris being thrown into the air by this tornado that has gone through up 43. So we are getting some definite confirmations here and from this, and that's good enough for a confirmation, by the way. Even if we don't have somebody see it, we get this clear of a debris signature, that's confirmed. We've had a tornado on the ground, likely still on the ground up here. So anywhere around Axis, Satsuma, everybody up in this area needs to be in shelter, all right? Because what this is the radar is picking up things being tossed up into the air. The radar, see all this pinkish color here? The radar is sending out its radar signals, or microwaves, and all this stuff is the same size. In other words, they're all raindrops. Look, new scan, still there. It's picking up things that are not the same size as raindrops, things that are being thrown up into the air. And that is right on I-65. So a very dangerous situation for drivers right now on I-65 up here going up towards the bridge from Satsuma. So this is pulled away from town, which is good, but it's right on top of the interstate. This is going to cross over the interstate and out into the Delta where it won't do any harm. So we got to wait on that. But for now, it's a very dangerous situation that we are seeing. A tornado on the ground, on the bridge there, going across I-65. Now, it'll skip across there fairly quickly and out into the Delta where it won't do any more harm, but we can see that from that debris ball. That is a that, like I said, that's enough on its own to confirm that we have a tornado on the ground. Let me get you back to the velocity here, and I'll show it too here. So where did it come from and where did it go? I'm going to widen this thing out a little bit so we can see, because we might have seen some damage in other areas. I mean, if it's confirmed and we have that big of a debris ball, it started right here around Saraland and quickly raced up here to I-65. This is a very fast-moving, quick spin-up tornado, and it went basically almost parallel to Highway 43 and right over I-65. Now it's about to head back out into the Delta where it's not going to cause any more problems. But for now, we've had a very dangerous situation up here and around parts of Mobile County. Now, this isn't for everybody. Once again, this is for Saraland, Satsuma areas. This is where this has happened. It hasn't. It's not going to impact, Citronelle. It's not going to impact Dauphin Isle. It's not going to impact Dawes or anything like that. It's just in this one area. But we've seen a definite debris signature. In fact, I'm going to bring that back up. It's taking me a second to load this all back in. And we're going to see if we can't pull this back up here. So we got a debris signature on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this we're going to loop this to see if we can't see it back for let's go like 30 minutes back, and we'll see where we have it. Yeah, very clearly. So that went right through Saraland on Highway 43. We got a debris ball there. Let me back it up. Of course, I messed it up as I did that, but we had a debris ball that followed right on through Saraland and then went up Highway 43, basically parallel to Highway 43, and then now is on I-65 or just north of I-65 now. So I'll back that up again, and I'm going back here to 1220. There it is through Saraland. And that little ball that you see on your screen, 1227 here, right here, that is a debris ball, and it continues and it'll work its way over 65. That shows debris was lofted into the air by a tornado that quickly spun up. So, typically these aren't very strong, but, they're strong enough to do damage wherever they go. So that's what we've seen here today, and now going into the afternoon, once again, another possibility of another tornado on the ground. Actually, once again, it's enough to confirm it when you have that kind of debris ball. We've had a tornado on the ground with this system, with this storm. I'm kind of looking around too, making sure there's not some other, because what can usually happen with these two is that you'll get one spinning up, and as it spins down, one can spin up in another spot. So keeping an eye on the velocity loop to see if I start to see any other ones within this line. But right now, it looks like this is the main one. This is the one that I kept showing that was lofting debris up into the air, which means we had a tornado on the ground. It paralleled Highway 43, crossed 65. Now it's still paralleling 43, but it's about to head out into the Delta. Or we're not seeing, where it can't really do much more damage here, at least to human habitation. But once again, this is for the Satsuma area, Salco, Chastang. If you're in these areas, you need to be taking shelter. Stockton, you're not quite there in that, but you need to be taking shelter as well from this possible tornado. I would just go ahead and, be safe and, get inside and stay away from the windows and stay in your interior room so you don't have to deal with any of that. But that's, once again, the possibility of a tornado. That's what they're confirming as well from the National Weather Service, that there was some spotting by law enforcement. So we got the confirmation through the radar, confirmation through law enforcement. We've had a tornado on the ground in and around Saraland to Satsuma, crossing I-65 with this system. Let me get you back on the radar, kind of give you an idea of the actual storm system. And it's right through here. So heavy rain all the way down through the eastern part of Mobile into the bay, and the eastern shore, things had just picked up for you just a little while ago, and it's about to pick up more because this heavy rain is about to hit the eastern shore as well. So you're going to see more of that. We've obviously seen the nasty storm that went through Saraland, Satsuma, tornado on the ground. We've got debris that was lofted, so we're going to be checking on to see if we have any damage. Now, when I say debris lofted, that doesn't necessarily mean homes or anything. It could be trees and branches as well. Those that will be considered debris. That makes that up. So, we have to go and take a look and look around to see if there's been any confirmations. of any actual damage. So this, once again, 5 miles north of Creola. They're still continuing the tornado warning until 1:15. So this tornado warning will go to 1:15. Now we're watching it work its way up kind of just off to the east of Highway 43. I know we had the power plant and that sort of thing up there as well. So hopefully everybody up there is taking cover here for this possible tornado. Well, I'm saying possible now because we know it was on the ground earlier. Right now, this appears to have broadened out a little bit, so I'm hopeful that maybe it's kind of lifted up. But these things spin up and spin down really quickly. So we're going to continue to watch it, and it's working its way off to the north at around 20 miles per hour into the delta. So once it gets away from the power plant and that sort of thing, it'll be in the delta and not causing as many problems. And then, of course, we'll have to watch it for folks back over here in Baldwin County to see if it'll hold together as it crosses the delta to areas like Vaughn or Stockton. So you guys keep a very close eye on this. Like I said, if you're in Vaughn or Stockton, go ahead and take shelter. Assume that it will work its way towards you. It's better to be safe on these things. And that, again, is where we're talking about, just off to the east of Highway 43, working its way into the delta right now, where we've had a possible tornado on the ground. Big picture, once again, heavy rain working its way from Mobile County to Baldwin County. And you can see it right through the middle of the bay. There's some good news, though, on the back end of this. You can see it, not nearly as much rain. There are a few light showers, but certainly the heavy rain is not there when you go back into Greene and Jackson County and George County and parts of Mobile County now clearing out as well with just some very light rain. It's all part, obviously, of this system. That is Ida, still spinning out there, and heavy rain with Ida here, this dragging through our area. And we've been talking about this the last couple of days. There was real concern here that we'd see even more rain on Monday than we did on Sunday, and that's how it's worked out for us. So we've had heavy rain here throughout the morning and now going into lunchtime hour and dealing with Ida. All right, so we still have debris being shown up on this scan, and I'm going to once again put that into motion and just show you what we're looking at. Once again, when we look at a debris scan, this is the radar picking out things that aren't the size of raindrops. Everything you see in purple here is a raindrop. Watch right there around Saraland, and this right here is still showing up very clearly. So we still have a tornado on the ground. When you have a debris ball that shows up that clearly here with the imagery, that's enough by itself to confirm, but there's also been some law enforcement confirmation as well of a tornado here that has gone through basically parallel to Highway 43 on the east side of Highway 43, and now is working its way to the northeast at around 20 miles per hour. It's Chastang here. You can see this is going right up the river now, but it did cross 65 as well. So it crossed 65. It started in Saraland, went past Satsuma, crossed 65, and now is right there, and it's still lofting debris in the air. Once again, remember, debris doesn't necessarily mean somebody's roof, okay? Debris is branches and limbs and trees, straw, anything else they could throw up in the air, okay? It's being lofted up into the air by a tornado right there. So this is 65, Highway 43. This is where you're going all across the bridge here. And basically it's right in the middle now. So that's good news. It's headed out across the delta. Now, of course, eventually, it's got to get across the delta. And let's look up Highway 225 here around Stockton and Vaughn. You're going to definitely want to keep an eye on that. Anybody that's up there on 59, anybody up here on 59, you're going to want to pay close attention. You want to go ahead and get into your safe place, but kind of follow this out. It's going to head up to around the Tinsall area, so right up through here. And if it holds together, now when they're on the ground like this, it's already shown it can hold together, so you assume it's going to, even across the delta. So right through there, that is it. And this little debris ball right there shows up very, very clearly. There's also looks like to be some scattering of debris as well around Chastang. So we got an obviously a very strong cell here that is working its way off to the north and northeast. So anybody up 43, anybody up here on 59 over in Baldwin County, you need to be taking shelter as well with this storm as it comes on through. So we might be seeing a secondary one there as well. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on all this for you, making sure we get you the latest. I'm going to go ahead and get you back to the original radar so we can see a little bit of a closer look here. Actually get my velocity imagery back into the middle here. Yeah, so there it is, right over the river there. And once again, if you're on 59 up around Latham or Tinsall, you need to be paying very close attention. Hopefully folks in Chastang and Mount Vernon are already in their safe places. Now, if you're up in McIntosh, that's not going to get to you. This is going more of a northeasterly direction. If you're across the rest of the area, any other place in Mobile County, well, essentially it's moving out of Mobile County now into Baldwin County is what we're looking at right now. So it's moving out of Mobile and going into Baldwin County. Let me get you back onto the actual warning, and you can see the area that is warned. Tinsall, you are part of the warning. McIntosh, barely, but I don't think it gets up to McIntosh. I'd be more concerned over in the Tinsall area with this current one. So we have gotten a tornado on the ground, folks. This is always a, once again, always a possibility with a landfalling tropical system on the right-hand side. You get the factors there for spin-up tornadoes. You have a lot of turbulence going on in the atmosphere from bottom to top of the atmosphere, a lot of turbulence there, and these things spin up. They're different than what we typically see in a spring-type tornado, but nonetheless, they can be damaging, but they're very hard to predict exactly when they're going to pop up because they spin up so quickly. Once again, here's all that heavy rain. Once again, here is the area that we're keeping a very close eye on. We've had a tornado on the ground. We've seen that with the debris imagery. It is lofted debris in the air, so that gave us the first confirmation, and there's more confirmations from law enforcement as well. There was a tornado near the Satsuma area, and this traveled from Satsuma across the I-65 bridge up here. Now it's over the river, and it's continuing to work its way off to the northeast. Now Mount Vernon, you can see the signatures here over the river, but Mount Vernon, I would still be in shelter here. Let it pass you by before you venture on out. And regardless, there's a lot of heavy rain here as well. Let that rain settle on out because you don't want to be driving around one way or the other out there at the moment with this very heavy storm in place. It's right through here. Heavy rain that goes from the Bayway Causeway up through now Bay Minette. So it's made its way to Bay Minette through Stockton up to Mount Vernon. But then you see behind this, things do improve. So if you've been putting off getting to the grocery store or something like that, you can do that afterwards. But let this line pass through. Heavy rain as well now on the eastern shore. Heavy rain around Fairhope. Big picture. Heavy rain here due to the, of course, the falling apart of Ida. It's still together, but it's slowly starting to fall apart. But now it's made this big comma shape. That's showing a tropical system beginning to die out because dry air is getting sucked in to this west side here. You can see right through here. This is dry air being wrapped into the system, but we still have all this moisture in the Gulf that's being dragged into the front side of the system, and that's where we've happened to be. We've been talking about this for days, and that was what we're going to be looking at here for our Monday. Once again, that debris ball really holding together well right over the river. Boy, that is a bright debris ball right there. That is, likely a pretty good tornado on the ground here at this point. So this is for a weakening tropical system, this looks to be a pretty powerful one right here as far as a tornado is concerned. They don't generally spin up very powerful tornadoes, but this one might have been able to do that. Still shows some up around Mount Vernon too, so I'm kind of wondering if we might have had a secondary tornado kind of off to the other side over here. We might have actually had two tornadoes. That's what the debris is trying to show us, but sometimes I got to be careful with that because the debris doesn't show up as well. In other words, it can be kind of a little bit off and spatially, so that might be the same debris coming from the same one. And I know from looking at the circulation that it's more over here. That just may be more debris that's being lofted by the same tornado. So hard to know exactly. Well, storms, we're going to continue to see them here throughout the afternoon. They'll move on to the east, and as they do, you'll see improvements wherever you are at here this afternoon. Once again, our biggest issue currently, the Weather Service saying, just like I was noting there, the debris signature just increased. So they do believe it's still on the ground between Bucks and Chastang. So let me get that back up there. So they believe that's just more debris essentially coming up off this thing, which obviously is not a good sign, which means we've had a very powerful tornado. This isn't two trying to come together, or this may just be a bunch of debris that's being lofted by one powerful tornado. So we got it right through here. That's Chastang, that's Mount Vernon. And we're seeing a lot of debris lofted into the air. It's this coloration right here. I know looking at some of these maps, some of these different things can be a little confusing. See, what's all this stuff? once again, I'll kind of quick mention here that the radars, they can do a lot more than just sort of see rain at this point. And this was something that was put in a number of years ago. But they have something called a correlation coefficient. Don't worry about the terminology. Basically what the radar is doing when it's sending out its beams and they bounce back, it can tell what size of thing it's hitting. And this is all the same size, so this purple stuff, that's rain. Raindrops are generally about all the same size. But then it's hitting some other stuff and saying, wait a minute, there's a bunch of stuff that's different sizes here. Now you see it ends back here because that's where the rain ends. So you can see it kind of clears out there and has some confusing, it's a little confusing on the edge of it, but you can pick this out. Kind of shows up in the middle of this purple where we first had a little debris ball, now we have a massive one. We really need to get some more information to see if we got something really going on up here. How much debris might be getting lofted up there could be showing some pretty serious issue right here. So once again, we've had a tornado on the ground, likely still have one on the ground. This is getting up near the plant up here just near Mount Vernon. So hopefully everybody's taking shelter, staying inside, staying away from this. The river's right through here. And once again, we are dealing with the possibility of a very strong tornado. Now I'm looking at the velocity, and this can be difficult. Sometimes it just doesn't show up very well in the velocity. A little more over here. It's kind of hard to pick out exactly where it's at. But we have something up here that's still lofting debris, which means we have a tornado on the ground. So we have to kind of go through the different products we have to really begin to see what we're looking at. All right, so let's get that saved there so we have the proper spot. Once again, here's Mount Chastang, Mount Vernon. Here's Highway 59 Tinsall. Everybody up here needs to be aware that you got the possibility of having a tornado come through your area. We've certainly had one on the ground. We've got a big debris signature that has showed up here on the imagery from the radar. This is something that we typically don't see that strongly of during these systems, but this one really spun up today. Choctaw Bluff around 131, 142 at Alma, 150 at Walker Springs, if it holds together that far. It's got to go all the way across the delta to get there, so hopefully it'll fall apart before it does that. I'm meteorologist Matt Barentine. Chief meteorologist Jason Smith is also in as well, helping us track this storm. Jason, I'm going to go to the next one here. This is what we've been looking at. The debris signature is very, very prominent here. And boy, right through there, right around where the plant is up here off Highway 43, and it is really going right now. A lot of debris has been lofted up into the air from this storm. And like I've been saying, I'm saying debris, but debris doesn't necessarily mean somebody's roof or something. It can be anything. It can be limbs and grass and anything like that. Anything that's not the size of a raindrop, the radar is going to pick up. But it does show us that there's a tornado on the ground to do this. That's what you need to throw debris way up into the air. You have to have a tornado, and that's what this is showing us. And it started down around Satsuma, across 65, and still going really strong up here just off to the east of Mount Vernon. So a definite signature there of a tornado on the ground. So a dangerous situation. Hopefully now it's fully over the delta. That's where we want it to be. Get it out of the away from any habitations here for a while. But then it's got to cross the delta. We'll see if it holds together or not. We're under a tornado warning until 1:15, I believe is what it is. 1:15 with this one, and so we're going to have to continue to watch it. Of course, that can be extended depending on what happens. Yeah, they've extended it now. It's to go up to 1:15, and we got to get back to the actual warning itself. There it is. So they're cutting Mobile County out of it now. So Mobile County's out. But it takes up several different small parts of several different counties. This is Washington County, this little sliver here of Clarke County, and then parts of Baldwin County up Highway 59, which is what I've been talking about for a while. So hopefully folks up on 59 here, up around Tinsall in those areas have been taking shelter, because this is crossing over towards your way. And there it is, all the info. It goes until 1:15 with the tornado warning. You can see that box is huge because not only is our tornado warning this dark red, this crimson red, that's a flash flood warning. And then, of course, the yellow is a tornado watch that we are seeing as well. So we've got multiple things here going on, but the main thing we want to pay attention to is that tornado. We had a tornado on the ground. The debris signature verifies that for us. Law enforcement verified that there was a tornado up around the Satsuma, Mount Vernon area. And we're still getting a lot of debris being lofted in the air by that system. Here's the radar again. I mean, look at how heavy this rain is. Heavy, heavy rain. Here's some of the lightning as well. Here it is going across from Mount Vernon to Tensas. So if the tornado's out there, I believe it's right about in through here. Right about there. So it's over the delta, and it's working its way towards the Tensas area, up 59. That's what we're looking at here right now. So that's where it's at. We've had the velocity still shows some right through here. You see the bright red and sort of the pink colors. That's showing a signature here of still some circulation, and it continues to work its way off to the northeast at around 20 miles per hour. So head up there towards the Tombigbee River and the Mobile River. Here's the Mobile River. So it's still going to be something that we're going to have to watch here because it's still showing some circulation. And once again, here's that debris that we've been talking about. This is when it gets scary. We see it lofting this much debris. We know we've had a tornado on the ground, and you still see that here. Still showing up a very, well, I say clear, but the one thing about debris signatures, they're really hard to pinpoint because when you throw debris well up into the atmosphere, it spreads out. So it's hard, you can't tell exactly where it's on the ground from a debris signature. Kind of have to look at the general area, but there's definitely some debris being thrown up there. And then we have the heavy rain, the lightning, all in this main line. And the good news is, once again, behind it, things do quiet down fairly quickly after it does pass you by, but you got to get through it first. Once again, Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith is here as well. He's helping me out, getting this zoomed into the area of the warned area, which is right between Mount Vernon and Tensas. Over the delta here at this point, but if you're in Tensas, you're up 59, you need to be in shelter. Jason's pulling the velocity scope on there. So it appears that right now that it has moved away from habitation and is now over the delta. And that's what, once again, hopefully where it can spin itself out. That's what we're hopeful for. We don't know if that'll happen or not. We have to just keep tracking and following it along to see what it's going to do. We got a new scan in, still shows up pretty well. Still shows that there's circulation going on in there. And we're kind of close in now. That's somewhere over the delta. Jason would have better geography skills on this area, so we're going to get in.
5 open, I can talk. Do you have mic 5 on?
Yeah, we're getting Jason on right now. He's on mic 5.
Yeah.
Jason, if you back it out a little bit, then I'll let you do some of the geography on here because you know exactly where some of these areas are when you get up there.
Yeah, well, this is off of Holly Creek here, so it's just west of Tensas, and so it's going to be up around Mifflin Lake or a little north of there, probably up around Hubbard's Landing now. It's tracking across the delta, and it's right there where the Mobile River starts to come down and off of the Tensas. So you've got the intersection of the Tombigbee River and also the Alabama River right here, and then south of Dixie Landing in that area west of Tensas. That's where the tornado is right now, and it just moved right up across from the Highway 43 area, crossed the Mobile River, and is now shooting up over the Mobile-Tensas Delta. And taking a look at what we have with this right now, let's bring it up full for a second, and I'll take you through it and show you what we're seeing here. So what we have with this, as I pull out the scope tool here, we've got an inbound-outbound velocity that shows a rotation area just off to the west of Tensas. One of the areas that's going to be potentially impacted by this, if it holds together, is the Carlton area. So that is going to be a little further to the north in Clarke County. The general track would be north-northeast right now based on what we're seeing, and it is a 40-mile-per-hour forward speed. So based on that, this thing is flying up towards Choctaw Bluff, headed at an angle about like this right here. That would have it to the Choctaw Bluff area a little before 1:38 this afternoon based on that forward speed. The other areas that we're going to have to watch out for if it meanders a little more to the east, certainly included in this warning, is going to be Tensas. It's going to be the Blackshear area, Little River, and that is all within this red box right here. And I'm going to give you some of the roads that are included in this. There are not a lot of streets, but T.J. Earl Road and Coughlin Road are up this way here. There's Turkey Creek Trail. Here's T.J. Earl Road here. And then we've got Dixie Landing to the north. You're included in that. We've got Bradley Road as well. And this is all going to lead away the this road right here is actually Coughlin Road. You can see it just pop in there. So Turkey Creek Trail, Coughlin Road, TJ Earl Road, and then you get off into the river swamp, which is where this is right now. It's actually over the uninhabited portion of the delta. There are a few camps scattered about in this area. And then once it moves north of there, it's generally going to ride right up the Alabama River, and it's going to be close to Gainestown if it holds together. One of the things that Matt mentioned is that these are normally brief tornadoes, and let's just go back in there right now. Some of that debris may be aloft, but we still have a pretty good signature here. And I'm just going to tell you, I was preparing to come to work, and this thing started forming up over Midtown, and you could see this was more than just a severe thunderstorm, and it looks like this thing began to form over Midtown Mobile and then tracked up across Tolmanville and up into Pritchard from there. So this has been a long track type event in a way. Let's back it up about 45 minutes. I'm going to rock the radar and I'll show you where this thing started. So right about here at 12:17, we had a possible tornado where Matt is pointing it out right there around Saraland, and then it tracked up Highway 43, and so the angle's been a little north-northeast, and you can almost see it hooking right there, Matt.
Yeah, you can.
And then from there you can see the hook signature, and now that's where we are now with this over the delta just to the west of the Tensaw community. And I'm going to take it off of composite reflectivity and put it back on specific elevation so that it's a little cleaner here. And looking back in with your velocity product that you saved, that's going to put the tornado now up along the Alabama River. It is just west of Tensaw. It's going to be paralleling Highway 59 there in Baldwin County. So you've got Highway 59, which is located right through here. This is 59, and you've got the community of Blacksher right about where I drew that X there. And then this is your tornado, and it's most likely going to be located about right here over the Alabama River. Now, there again, this is an area that's in a floodplain. This is where two major rivers are coming together. So this is not an area where there's a lot of houses. It's mostly just river swamp right here. The next area that it may encounter is either going to be southern Clarke County or the tip of Monroe County. We're going to have to watch out around Dixie Landing. Dixie Landing is located, if you go up 59 there, Dixie Landing is going to be located about right here. So that's going to be an area that is in the path of this particular possible tornado here as it's moving to the north. I'm going to take some of my scribbling off of here, and we'll do a little zooming in on, we like to go street level when we can, but when there are not a lot of streets, it's hard to go street level. There is Dixie Landing Road right there. We've got Smith Lake Road, Sawmill Road, and this is going to be an extension of TJ Earl Road. And then as we get over onto the Clarke County line, the other area that could be potentially impacted by this is the community of Choctaw Bluff, which is on the west side of the Alabama River, and ultimately Gainestown Landing is in this area as well. There's Gainestown there, Barlow Bend, Alma. These are areas they're going to have to watch out because this thing is held together remarkably well, Matt, as it's been working up into Clarke County.
Yeah, it really has. This is an outlier, to say the least, for these kind of systems. We're talking about a dying tropical system here at this point, but still dragging a lot of moisture through in these storms. And to have watched this one, I mean, it flew together right around Saraland. It just spun up very, very quickly, and it's just been able to hold together. So a dangerous situation here. This did throw up debris around Satsuma and Saraland, so we're checking right now to see if there's been any damage reported up in that area. Same deal around Mount Vernon. Now this is out, like Jason says, out over the Delta area where there's not much habitation out here, but then it's going to work its way towards, like Jason was saying, Choctaw Bluff and some other areas where people do live. So we're going to have to continue to track this and watch this to see how this holds together as it continues to work its way off to the north-northeast. It's also sped up. It was going about 20 miles an hour originally. Now Jason was saying we're seeing it at about 40 miles per hour. So it has sped up a little bit, and it's working its way off to the north-northeast. Once again, we've seen a number of these here today and yesterday, but this seems to be the one that's most powerful. Certainly the one that we haven't seen any of them that have a debris signature like what we've seen out of this one. So we've seen some debris lofted up into the air with this. I think, Jason, you have some more?
Yes, we just got an update from the National Weather Service that the tornado warning is going to be continued and confirmed. So this is a confirmed tornado, and as Matt has been telling you and showing you, we have the debris showing up. We also have what is a way more impressive signature on velocity than anything we've seen with any of these Ida bands going on right now. And that confirmed tornado is located 11 miles to the east of Calvert, so it's going to be east of 43. It's up here into southern Clarke County, and it was also located about 20 miles south of Jackson, Alabama. So I'll zoom out just a little bit, and it is moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So this is a very, very fast forward speed. I'm going to put a storm track up on it right here. Let me stop it and put it at the current frame. And we'll do a storm track here. Hold on. And we'll get that going for you here in just a second. Let me clear this off. And we're looking at right here around Choctaw Bluff, right there. And a very, very fast forward speed at about 45 miles an hour. It looks like this will, if it holds together, end up on the east side of Jackson. So we've got it in Alma at 120. We've got a confirmed tornado right there where the Alabama-Tombigbee River comes together, and that's going to track over Singleton Lake and move in the direction of Alma, and it should be in the Alma area around 120. It may be just to the west of Choctaw Bluff. If it holds together, it's going to be in Grove Hill by 137, and then we have it further to the north in Fulton by 148. Now that's a ways out in time. Right now, the biggest concern is going to be the Alma community and the Carlton community, which are located just to the south of Jackson. So looking at it here, we'll go street level, and again, not a lot of roads right here, but we have a very, very strong debris ball there. Rockville Road, Choctaw Bluff Road, Gainstown Road, Depot Road, Walker Springs Road. Walker Springs is in line for this possible tornado. And if you're looking at it, and these are colors that you haven't seen before, the debris is going to be located right here, okay? And then everything is going northeast from there. So we're at the conjunction of the Alabama and the Tombigbee River. It really looks like this thing, some of the debris is more over the Tombigbee, and the debris signature is a confirmation of a tornado, but it does not mean that's exactly where the tornado is. It may lag behind the circulation just a little bit. So I'm going to switch it back over to velocity, and it could be that this debris is a little more over on the west side of where the tornado actually is. If you look at it on the velocity product, it appears that it may be a little closer to the Alabama River. I mean, we're talking about a couple of miles here. Where is the tornado actually embedded within this? Are there possibly two vortices? I really kind of see two rotation areas in this, Matt. One over the Alabama River that's very prominent, and the one over the Tombigbee River that's a little more subtle. So embedded within this area of gate-to-gate shear, we've got a confirmed tornado, and we believe it's located in South Clarke County, currently still over an extremely rural area here. Most of this is just timberland, hardwood bottoms down in the lower portion of Clarke County, but soon, very soon, this is going to be up around Choctaw Bluff.
Yeah, and once again, just tracking that velocity, you can just really see where you got these bright reds and this sort of yellowish, brownish color. Those are the radar seeing winds going in different directions like that close together, which means there's a circulation there. And that's what we've been tracking all along here. It's headed up towards Choctaw Bluff area. So anybody in southern Clarke County, anybody in southern Monroe County, you need to be taking shelter here at this point. That is moving fairly quickly. We talked about the debris showing up on the radar as well. The radar can see the rain. Rain shows up as this purple color, but then it's seeing stuff that's not the size of rain, stuff that's larger than rain. Well, that shows up as these different colors, these different colored pixels. So that lets us know there's debris being lofted in the air. Like Jason said, you can't look at that and say that's exactly where it's at, because when debris gets lofted, it can also get spread out up there in the upper levels too. So it's getting spread out like that. So it just gives us a confirmation that we've had a tornado on the ground, or we have a tornado on the ground. Once again, here's the new tornado warning box. It's kind of odd how it cuts out the lower end there of Monroe County. But anyhow, if you're in that little tip of Monroe County, treat it like you are at a tornado warning. Choctaw Bluff, Grove Hill, all included as well. So we got the tornado warning right up through here, and Jason's putting up the locations here that could be impacted here. And got Grove Hill, got Fulton, you got McVeigh, you got, of course, Jackson. And Jackson, once again, like Jason was saying, is likely on the east side of Jackson that will be impacted, but you don't take that chance. If you're on the west side of Jackson, take shelter too, okay? Heavy rain coming through, storm coming through. Wait till it passes by. Let this thing get on through here before you head on back out. Here's another look at that. You can see and Jason's kind of moving it along to catch some different communities in there. And one of the issues is you want to make sure you kind of let everybody know with different communities, even Thomasville, although I'd be really surprised if it holds on all the way through Thomasville. You never know, so we're going to have to keep an eye on this for you. That would be an hour from now, so it'll be a while before it gets up to Thomasville. So we'll continue to track this as it continues to work its way off to the northeast. Once again, Jason, it was a scary sight seeing that debris ball, because we get a lot of these from time to time, and then nothing really shows up, and we are wondering if we ever even had a tornado. But when you see that debris showing up that specifically, you know you got something there.
Oh, definitely a confirmed tornado, and so different than a Doppler radar indicated tornado, and this is confirmed. And the other thing I would like to look at here, considering that this likely initiated somewhere around the Tolmanville or Midtown area, so far we've had a debris signature of sorts, or at least a rotation area, for 38 miles on the ground. Now, a good portion of this is over the delta, but this is what is essentially a long track style tornado, which is very unusual for a tropical type rain band deal. Usually these things are brief spin up tornadoes, and they're normally EF0s or EF1s, and based on the amount of debris we're seeing here, Matt, this could easily be a much more significant tornado in its intensity.
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, this one's definitely an outlier, not something we were expecting here with this kind of a system. We do expect tornadoes to spin up here with a tropical system, even when it's fading out and dying away. But they typically don't stay on the ground that long. They're usually quick spin-up tornadoes. Of course, they go over your house one way or the other. It still can do damage, but they're usually much more limited in scope. This one's been able to hold itself together for quite a while. Now we're getting up close to Choctaw Bluff, and Jason's putting on the velocity scope, trying to pinpoint. It's probably somewhere in here. So just south of Choctaw Bluff right now. Head up your way. So hopefully you've been listening. If you're in Choctaw Bluff, you know to go ahead and get yourself into shelter. Jackson is up here. Just kind of give you Frisco City's up here, Uriah's over here. So heavy rain, of course, with the circulation as well. You're not going to see it coming. As I mentioned earlier, you don't try to get outside and take pictures of these things or chase them or anything like that. Quick moving, completely wrapped in blinding rain. You're not going to see it. It's just going to come through. You'll hear it more than anything else. So stay inside, stay away from windows, get in your safe place here as this continues to work its way off to the northeast at around 40 miles per hour. Basically, like Jason was saying, kind of going parallel there to the river there, so up the Alabama. So we're seeing that. Once again, Jason's zooming on down to Choctaw Bluff Road. This is the area where hopefully you're taking shelter at this point. Heavy rain, of course, the possibility of this tornado sliding on through. You get a little closer in. There's Society Hill Road, Oregon Road, Prairieville Road. Hopefully, if you already heard Choctaw Bluff, you already know to get inside anyway. But if you're at your road, stay inside, stay in your shelter, stay in your safe place. Let this thing move on through. It'll go through pretty quickly, and then it'll be gone. That's the goal. Get it out of here. All right, so we are confirming some damage, it sounds like, in Saraland. Not surprising with what that debris was looking like on the radar at that point.
Yeah, new debris signature located at Oil Well Road. headed near or west of Choctaw Bluff. So it's exactly where we pinpointed it, Matt, with our storm tracker. The National Weather Service confirming a new debris signature here, which is going to match up with what we're seeing on our debris as well, that is showing up a potential tornado going on in this area here. It's getting a little further away from the radar site, so it's a little harder to determine exactly where this is based on the debris. It's not as well defined as it was earlier. Getting a little pixelated there, Matt.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get farther away from the radar. There's some limitations with the technology, and you can see it's kind of running into some of those limitations. But we know it's been there. We're getting word of power outages as well in and around Saraland due to some of the damage that went through there. So we're going to get you more information on that pretty soon. Once again, that this is an ongoing situation for folks up around Choctaw Bluff, parts of Clarke County. I'm going to kind of work my way out here a little bit. That is
There's Oil Well Road right there.
Okay, so that's where there it is.
It's on the south end, down right where the rotation area is, right in the heart of that couplet.
Yeah. Okay. So once again, anybody in and around Choctaw Bluff, let's just put it that way. You need to be in shelter. Anybody in the southern end of Clarke County, anybody in the southern end of Monroe County, you need to be in shelter as well. Even though, weirdly enough, like I said, it's kind of wasn't included in parts of Monroe County. Once again, that's a pretty big velocity sector. It's pretty broad, but it's showing up very well, which likely means that we still got a tornado either on the ground or close to it. So we have a very big circulation going through there in and around Choctaw Bluff right now. Got Alma there, you got Barlow Blend. These are the next areas that will be impacted by this. So a number of areas here in southern Clarke County, as well as parts of Monroe County, you need to be taking shelter right now, getting away from those windows, staying inside in your safe place.
We also got an update, Matt, of power outages in Saraland, starting at about Saraland High School. And so we talked about this being potentially on the ground for about 35 or 40 miles. Started somewhere just north of Midtown, perhaps around Chickasaw or Tolmanville. And then we had power outages right now in Midtown in some places as well. And then from there, the tornado likely became more intense, more well-defined, and then would have passed just to the east of Creola across Dead Lake, and then went up the Mobile River and tracked across the Delta, went across the Dolly Parton Bridge area, then north of there, and riding right up the Delta to the west of Hubbard's Landing, and likely just tracked due north or a little to the north-northeast all the way up across the Delta to where it is right now. Currently, this is now far to the north. Baldwin County is not included in this. We just got a report of some numerous trees snapped and down at Highway 158 and US 43. So this is a damage report, and this is consistent with the fact that we believe this may have started somewhere around Saraland. So the 158 and Highway 43 area is going to be on the east side of Saraland, to the east of Saraland High School. So most likely, Matt, we had a tornado on the ground based on what we're seeing with power outages around Saraland High School, and then trees snapped at 43 and 158.
Yeah.
We had this over Saraland.
Yeah, over Saraland, the debris ball showed up right about through here. That's where it began showing up, and then it continued to work its way right up 43, sort of parallel to 43. It went over 65 there over the bridge, kind of parallel here at 43, then went out into the Delta where it is now. So been on the ground a long time for the most likely. Done a lot of damage here. Has done certainly some significant damage in and around Saraland. We're going to get more reports in on that here for you before too long. And it's still an ongoing situation, Jason. Is that a separate one, or is it kind of jogged off?
I'm rocking it. This was when we saw the first reports of damage down around Saraland at 12:20.
Oh, yes, okay.
So you can see the couplet there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take it north, and it went over the Delta. So the track brought the tornado across the bridges and then up to the west of Hubbard's Landing. Looks like we had a possible tornado very close to Tensaw and Blacksher. And then that tornado continued north. I'm going to take it north to where it is now, up here near Choctaw Bluff, where we're seeing it now. So the current warning, we want to give you a little perspective, a little history on what we've seen, because we're getting the damage reports coming in, and then we'll show you where it's going from here. The current warning is going to include primarily Clarke County. In fact, it's almost entirely in Clarke County. There's a little small portion of the storm-based warning. There it is. Okay, it's all Clarke County now. The warning just updated, and this warning is going to stay in effect until 2. So it'll be in effect for the next 42 minutes. We have a tornado warning now entirely for Clarke County. If you are in Baldwin County or you are in Monroe County, you are clear. Mobile County, you are currently clear. The tornado warning is now for Clarke County, specifically around Choctaw Bluff, Matt.
Yeah, so now we're trimming that box down as we see it moving off to the north. So now it's including basically just Clarke County at this point. Choctaw Bluff is where we see the rotation signature right now. Grove Hill, you're going to be really want to watch out anywhere along Highway 84 up here. Looks like Jackson. Looks like this will be just off to the east of you, but still, you know, don't take any chances. Let it pass by. Stay inside. Stay in shelter. Let that pass by. Work its way up past Alma, and then eventually likely up to the Grove Hill area within the next 20 minutes or so. So we're going to be continuing to track this as it continues to work its way off to the northeast. We've had a tornado that's been on the ground. It's got a history of doing damage now. We know it's done some damage, and it's continuing to work its way off to the north and east. It's right through here around Choctaw Bluff. I'm going to pull that velocity imagery up here, see if it's changed any. It was broadening out. Hopefully it still is. The broader it gets, the more likely chances that it's beginning to fall apart. So that's what we're looking at out there with the velocity imagery. Jason?
I'm going to take over on the key wall a little bit and give Matt a breather, because I know he's been out here for some time. We may have to reset the shot just slightly there. We are still looking at a confirmed tornado based on debris signatures that have been revealed to us and also to the National Weather Service for a possible tornado around Choctaw Bluff. This has been on the ground for about 40 miles here, and it's currently located very close to Choctaw Bluff Road. It was actually reported with the debris signature around Oil Well Road. And what is unique about this compared to, we've had a lot of warnings in the last couple of days if you've been following our coverage, and what's unique about this is that it is still very well defined in comparison to a lot of the other warnings that have been issued. This is where we are currently looking for debris, and Matt is rocking this back, and so we saw debris at 1236 here, not showing any debris at 1220, but we had reports of damage right there. 158 and Highway 43. So there's the damage right there. It's just a little bit under the banner there. Okay, so we had a report of damage right here. And you've got Saraland High School is right here, and then we had a tornado come across 43. It's going to have worked up on the east side of Highway 43. This is about where it was close to Dead Lake, Matt, right there. Then we have it going across the Tensaw Bridge, across the Dolly Parton Bridge here, and then on the east side of 43, very close to Berry Steam Plant. And look at the debris showing up here in Mount Vernon. Now, the tornado itself, probably right here, but perhaps winds aloft, carried some of that debris in a more of a northwest fashion. We believe the tornado was located right here, but the debris aloft over the delta, this is the Alabama River, this is the Tombigbee River, and this is where the rivers merge into the Mobile River and the Tensaw. Then we saw debris here to the southwest of Choctaw Bluff, and this is primarily an area that is almost completely uninhabited here. There are just a few camps in the delta here, and now we're looking at debris between Choctaw Bluff and Jackson, but we believe that the tornado may be a little closer to Choctaw Bluff, even though that the debris aloft has gotten carried back off to the north or a little off towards the north. You'd have to look at the upper atmospheric profile to get an idea of exactly what the winds are doing aloft. It's not very often that we have a tornado debris signature that is as well defined as this is. It still shows up with very strong velocity, this is how we can tell if we have a tornado. This is how Doppler radar works. With radar, you can tell if an object is falling from the sky, so rainfall, right? But with Doppler radar, we can tell if the object is actually coming towards the radar or away from the radar. And if we see that going on in the same area where the objects are going away and towards in a very, very tight cluster, then we know that there's rotation going on in that area. And that's why we can see, and that gives us the technology to see where we have a potential tornado. So there's Choctaw Bluff right there. And while the debris may be getting carried aloft between Choctaw Bluff and Jackson, and Fox 10 News has been on this the entire time with this event with Ida, and one of the things we like to do when we're in severe weather coverage is bring you the pictures of what is actually happening here. And there is a ground truth report. We don't have a location on that. I don't have IFB map, but if you can hear where that may be located, we do have damage reported right there. Likely it's going to be around the Saraland area. And you can see Choctaw Bluff now is being potentially impacted by this same long track tornado. This is likely a very significant tornado. I don't want to call exactly what the Fujita scale rating is on this, but let's just say this is a significant tornado because of the amount of debris that we're seeing aloft. This could easily be an F2 or stronger. Matt, what are you learning about the location there where we're bringing that live feed right now?
Okay, that live feed is from Saraland. Major structural damage also being reported at Cleveland Road, US 43. So this is probably around that same area. Yeah, that's what we're looking at here. That is along Highway 43 up there in Saraland. So we've had not just trees down, but we've got some significant structural damage that's been caused by this tornado as it moved through. That area was about 45 minutes ago, almost an hour ago, through Saraland where that damage occurred.
And so from there, this has been over, once it pulled away from the Saraland area, it most likely tracked up around Dead Lake Marina. And now it's way to the north. It's shot all the way up into Clarke County and exhibiting still very well-defined rotation. And these things can drop down on the ground, track for a number of miles, lift up, and then reinitiate and drop back down. So we may be seeing that process going on at times, but I would take this very seriously. If you're anywhere around Grove Hill or Watley, we've got a tornado down near Alma and Choctaw Bluff, and it's moving towards the northeast here towards 84. So this is 43 between Jackson and Grove Hill. This is paralleling Highway 43, and it's between the Alabama River and the Tombigbee River, and it's tracking up towards Highway 84. So now it's working to the north, and some of the streets will pop in here as we zoom in a little bit tighter. The roads here in the Alma area here, and taking a look at some of these here, we've got Perry's Chapel Road, Walker Springs Road, Gainstown Road. This is likely going to track a little to the west of Gainstown. We've got Manila Road. We've got Walker Springs. This is going to get real close to Walker Springs. And we've got Morningstar Road, Sylvania Lane, Pritchett Place, Deer Springs Road. If we mention your road, you need to be preparing for a tornado. Find the lowest floor of your home. You want to be in an interior hallway or closet. If you are up in the Watley area, or you're right now it's right on top of Walker Springs, so you really don't have time. But if you're further to the north, say Suggsville North, and you're in a mobile home, you want to get out of there because this could be a really, really dangerous situation. Here's Grove Hill. This is Old Line Road, and we've got Allen Road right there, and we got Allen Walker Road here through Walker Springs, and then our possible tornado is going to be right here over Walker Springs Road. It is bearing down very quickly on Suggsville and tracking across. Is likely going to be imminently in the Suggsville community. We've got Gosport right here. Watley's in here somewhere too. It's just not being identified. We've got the Vashti community here. This is going to be well to the east of Zimco. It's going to be very close to Grove Hill. You've got 84 and 43 coming together, and most of Grove Hill is over in this area here, so this city name may have popped up a little bit to the east. It's a little closer to actually the Watley area, but we've got a possible tornado on the ground with a confirmed debris signature that has had the history of producing damage like you see right there in the Saraland area, and it is now very active here in Clarke County. It's a very serious situation. Confirmed tornado. It is not just a Doppler radar indicated warning. This is a confirmed tornado. So we are definitely concerned for folks right now up into Clarke County with this possible tornado on the ground. An overview of what's happening. This is one of the bands that's directly associated with Hurricane Ida, which is now winding down as really a much weaker tropical system, but it's pulling this rain band directly off the Gulf, and embedded within that we have some rotation left over from the tropical system, and we expected to see rain bands like this today. Unfortunately, this was something that was anticipated, maybe not a tornado on the ground this long or this strong, but there's a tornado watch in effect right now. There's been a tornado watch in effect for our area for about the last 18 hours or so, and we also have the potential of some flash flooding. Right now, everything looks a little better in Mobile County. We do have a pretty strong cell coming in around Dauphin Island. The worst of this, by far, is where we have our debris signature up into Clarke County there. Really nasty from Bay Minette all the way up to Jackson, all the way up towards Thomasville. And there's some extremely gusty winds in this area, even where we're not seeing that possible tornado. Behind that, it's going to get more scattered, and this line is trying to move a little more to the east, and eventually it will clear. These bands, and based on the track of what we're seeing with Ida and the remnants of Ida today, it's going to keep this band around for a while. This is not something that will just go away. We expect to see the threat of severe weather in our area through the afternoon and possibly into the evening. All right, right there is Gainestown Road, and again, this is a little more reactive, so it may be lagging behind a little. This is the debris signature, and we're still looking at very strong indication that there is debris near the Alma community here. We've got the rotation area now is up near Suggsville, Matt, so this may be a little delayed with this particular product right here, or there may still be some debris aloft, but we believe there was a tornado, no doubt, about 10 minutes ago down here around Gainestown Road, and now that possible tornado is moved to the north up towards Suggsville. So we see that as a possibility right now. Are you getting any new information, Matt? Yeah,
from the Weather Service, they are keeping an eye on that. For a few frames here, as we call it, the debris signature sort of fell off and fell apart, and then it blew back up there near Alma. So that just gives us further indication that it might have gone back up in the clouds for a few minutes, then dropped right on back down. So we still got a tornado on the ground up here around Walker Springs to Suggsville, somewhere one of these areas. Once again, you got to be, like Jason was saying, we got to be careful with the debris balls when we show this debris on there, because it doesn't show up exactly where the tornado is at. A lot of times it's more of a way for us to confirm there is a tornado on the ground, not so much that there's ground truth exactly where it's at, because that debris is actually getting thrown up into the atmosphere 20, 30, 40,000 feet. So that's where you're seeing it on the imagery isn't exactly where it started from. So something to keep in mind there when we look at that imagery. And once again, you look at the velocity, because we are now, once again, Jason, getting pretty far from the radar site. It doesn't pick up the velocity picture quite as well here. It shows as more broad, but we got the debris signature showing us that there is a tornado within that somewhere that is still on the ground there just south of Grove Hill in and around the Suggsville community. Right through there. Yeah, you can see Allen Road right there, Allen Walker Road, Morningstar Road. This is tracking towards US 84, and it's going to be real close to Watley here, which is located on the east side of Grove Hill. We've got a number of areas here, and you're getting into a more populated part of Clarke County here now that it's pulled out of the river swamp and starting to track up into the hills here and the piney woods that we see here up near Grove Hill.
Hill. It is just on the east side of Highway 43. We're still seeing very strong rotation. We also have had debris signatures matching up with this, so we're unfortunately confident that this is likely a tornado on the ground here. If not, it has had the history of being on the ground for a long ways. At this point, we're looking at over a 50-mile track. This is a long track style tornado. This is Highway 84 right here. It is imminently crossing Highway 84. You're out of time if you're anywhere around Grove Hill, especially on the east side of town or around Watley or Suggsville. It is on top of you. We still see that debris signature, although this may be a little delayed because the rotation area is showing up here. That looks like a new frame there, Matt. It's a little different than the one we saw just a few seconds ago. So we are still confirming debris associated with the rotation area.
Yeah, we have that debris that confirms the tornado for us, and that's the wording that the Weather Service is using now. Another confirmed tornado up here in Clarke County. Now, we've had some damage, Jason, so we want to toss it to our Dacian Smith. He is out there live in Saraland right now, I think at the Bamboo Motel, where there's been significant structural damage. Dacian, can you tell us what's been going on there?
Hey, Matt and Jason. Yeah, we actually did just get into Saraland right here off of Highway 43. We are across the street from the Bamboo Motel. You can take a look behind me. You can see some of the damage right there. You see that awning in the front of the building was destroyed. There's a car parked under it. We've seen a few people come outside and take pictures and everything. You see a bunch of limbs. There's a couple signs over there to the right of the motel. So everybody's starting to come out here and see the damage. Also, a lot of traffic in this area. Power has been knocked out. The street lights are out. So Saraland PD is out here directing traffic in this area. You can kind of see back towards the motel, you can kind of see this power line hanging down here that was hit by the tornado. And we even have a light pole in front of us that was destroyed. But traffic pretty slow and go here. It did take us a while to get through here. And this is really just the start of the damage that we're seeing. When we first came on Highway 43, a couple of the smaller businesses before we reached this point had roof damage, saw a couple windows blown out, people just really coming out and starting to seeing what that damage was, how much of it there was. And I'm told a couple of people have come by some of the restaurants here, and they've told me that it's even worse if you go farther up 43 towards the plantation. Someone actually came by and showed me some drone video of that area that he got once the tornado cleared the area and the winds died down a little bit. I'm hoping to be able to show you some of that later. But that's really the start of what we're seeing here in Saraland damage-wise. At some point, again, traffic is pretty bad in this area, but we will try and go a little bit farther at some point to see what else that we can show you guys. Jason, Matt.
All right, thank you, Dacian. We appreciate it. Another view of the damage up there in Saraland at the Bamboo Motel off Highway 43. And we're not only, of course, we're following the damage that this storm has left behind, but this is still a currently active situation that we are tracking in and around the Grove Hill, Watley communities here in Clarke County.
That's right, Matt. The Grove Hill, where the word Grove Hill here, this is really Grove Hill right here. And now you're getting over kind of close to Watley right here. One of the things I just noticed, Matt, is this is probably crossing Highway 84 right now, which is the road that leads east over towards Evergreen. And we actually had a slowdown of traffic showing up on the map right there, which means there may be some damage there or cars are stopping because they were watching a tornado come across the road. So that's another indication that something is going wrong right here around Watley. This is Old Line Road right here, and so that's going to lead north of northeast of Watley as it heads on up across Clarke County in the direction of Lower Peachtree. And this is where we see the possible tornado going on right here. So the Watley area crossing 84, and there's the debris, and this is going to soon probably catch up with this stretch of Highway 84. May even show up with that delay on our traffic tracker. Matt, what are you hearing?
Yeah, so what I wanted to mention is, guys, a good update from our folks over at the National Weather Service here about what they're looking at, because of looking at the velocity picture, it does look pretty broad and spread out. And I mentioned this earlier, that's because it's pretty far from the radar site, so it gets really hard to pick it out. So they're actually paying, they are paying very close attention to the debris signature that's still showing up. So that's still telling them, even though it's getting a little harder to pick out in the velocity signature, that they still have a tornado on the ground. And the overall thing, when I talked about how this is kind of an outlier, or kind of, usually don't see these that are this strong and this long lasting down here with a tropical system. This is almost more like a spring type tornado. And the reason why is because wrapping around this tropical system is a big punch of dry air that's coming in on the backside. That punch of dry air added the extra instability to actually create almost a spring-like tornado here for us. So a very strange, unique situation, but there are explanations why this sort of thing can happen even here. So a little, like I said, a little bit out of left field, but there's a reason why it happened. It's just because this whole system, let me go ahead and put on right through here, that is dry air being wrapped around. So that dry air punching into the backside of that tropical moisture helps to create that instability, Jason. So kind of a, like I said, a unique situation. Not something we were fully expecting, but that's the way weather goes sometimes. It
is, and we expected the precipitation shield over our area today. Part of the reason why that dry air is getting punched in is that now that the situation, this system is gaining latitude, there is a little westerly wind shear going on. So what it's doing is it's taking some drier air, which we're going to experience in a couple of days, and it's punching it into the circulation, and that's creating almost a dry line type setup, which has created the environment, along with the fact that it's 1:40 in the afternoon right now, so there is a lot of instability mixed in with this. There's actually some daytime heating that's in play here too, and we see that with decaying tropical systems, that they can become more problematic when we have daytime instability. Sometimes they'll almost completely fade out at night, and then they'll spark back up with the heating of the day as it gets on those cloud tops. So right now, still looking at the debris signature, when this was about 5 to 10 minutes ago crossing Allen Road, very close to Watley on the east side of Grove Hill and very close to Suggsville. That debris signature will be catching up with the area where we're seeing the rotation, which is now up close to Old Line Road. That's going to be here. So we're looking at on the east side of Grove Hill, between there and Watley, very strong rotation. Matt's got it zoomed in tight, so some streets are likely going to pop here if they get identified. It'll continue tracking. This is Grove Hill. So while I was talking about that the actual label for Grove Hill is down here, that is the community of Grove Hill, and this is going to be on the east side of Grove Hill. It was a little bit more over Watley proper, which is down here, and now it's moving towards the northeast at about 45 miles an hour. This thing is flying across Clarke County. There's some possibility that it may even clip a little piece of Monroe County as it goes to the north, and it certainly looks like it's headed for Wilcox County. This is the Wilcox County line here. This is the Fulton community, and this will be riding parallel to Highway 43 as it tracks towards the northeast, and it will stay, we believe, just east of Fulton. If you know anybody who lives on the east side of Fulton, out in the country here, east of 43, there is a possible tornado or a confirmed tornado on the ground. Call them, text them, let them know, hey, we got this thing's coming in hot. We've got a possible tornado here in Clarke County. You need to prepare accordingly. If you're in a mobile home, get out. Find a more substantial structure or dwelling. If you're up in northern Clarke County, you have enough time. If you're currently up here in far northern Clarke County, you might be able to drive towards the west and get away from it, or drive out towards the east and get out of the way of this thing. The problem is with that 45-mile-an-hour forward speed, it's going, as we say, as the crow flies, so it's in a straight line. You know, you drive a car 45 miles an hour up a meandering road, it takes a little while to get to where you're going, but this thing is going straight to the northeast. There's no stopping it. It does not discriminate. It'll hit any community, trees, farms, whatever. It doesn't follow valleys or hills. It just goes where the meteorological conditions are driving it in the direction that it's going. This is Highway 84 here. This is Fulton, this is Highway 43, and here we go. We're looking at the Saraland community now. So coming up Old Line Road, this is Nettleboro, this is Brooksville Road. These are areas where a tornado is imminent, confirmed tornado. And we still have the debris signature backing this up, and a very strong rotation area showing up right now on our Doppler radar a good ways from the actual radar site at Mobile Regional Airport. Nettleboro is in line for this. We've got the community of Vashti here. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Old Line Road, Brooksville Road, and the Cyrene area. Fulton is right there, and we've got Lower Peachtree up here. So this is going to be just on the west side of Lower Peachtree, and it's moving towards the northeast at 45 miles per hour. This warning should be remaining in effect. Let's check our storm polygon. We may have an update on this warning because Matt and I were looking at it, and it looks like it actually was outrunning the box, and that warning has been continued. There is a warning that also includes Thomasville at this point too, because we're looking at this thing going to the north. So Grove Hill, Thomasville included in the tornado warning, as well as southwestern Wilcox County. And our rotation area that is creating this is located right in through here. The reason why the warning is the storm-based warning is a little broader than when we're seeing the specific rotation is exactly what Matt and I showed you with the debris signature. We were following debris from Saraland up across the delta. It seemed to disappear, and then a few miles to the west and a little to the northwest, it popped back up again. So this thing likely cycled and then reinitiated, and it's possible that this tornado could be much closer to Grove Hill here, and it may actually try and redevelop somewhere up here around Fulton. So if you're in Fulton, don't let your guard down. You were included in the warning. Thomasville, you were included in the warning, and we're going to see that warning remaining in effect well after 2 o'clock this afternoon as this lifts to the north. You're going to be in a warning for a little while longer here in northern Clarke County. Possible tornado on the ground, very well defined situation with the velocity. We are a ways away from the radar, but there still appears to be some debris showing up where this crossed Highway 84. And looking at it, the debris is moving more in a northerly fashion. The next debris, this is a more positive sign. The next debris signature that popped up shows the debris beginning to scatter out a little bit here, but it could pop back up at any time as we are looking at, and we're getting pretty far away from the radar site. All right, Matt has some new information. We've got team coverage here, 2 meteorologists, a lot of eyeballs on this. Matt, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're getting in some new video. We got this in from viewer Glenn Summers. This is from the Saraland area, and you can see the damage up here that we're showing here from Glenn. You can see a number of structures, like some they look like mobile homes there. You can see some trees down as well. So certainly some damage in and around the Saraland area. And you can see the rescue workers as well combing through the debris, and number of structures there. I can see some signs are ripped apart. So some significant damage in and around the Saraland area, where we believe was the first spot that this storm dropped down to about an hour and a half ago. So it's been a while that we've been tracking this here for you on the radar. So we've had a long running event. I'm going to get it back here to the beginning here, so while we have this up. And it's so easy for me to pick out now after seeing it a few times. That is 12:20. So this damage that you're seeing now on your screen occurred right around 12:20, 12:25 this afternoon. So a little bit over an hour ago, about an hour and 15 minutes ago. That's when this first occurred. And once again, you're seeing damage in and around from the Saraland area. You can pull the weather maps back up, I want to show you where this was at. Once again, there's a debris ball that's right there on top of Saraland. I'll zoom right on in. This is 1223. And it showed up clearly. The Weather Service immediately popped the warning on this, and this happened very quickly when it first popped up, because I'll go back a few more scans. That's 1221, nothing there. Then boom, it just blew up right at 1221. 1218, nothing. By 1222, there was a debris ball. So that's how quickly these things can happen. And this continued to track its way off to the east side of Highway 43, up across the landing there underneath 65, across the bridge there at 65, and then it worked its way out in the Delta. And likely was doing a lot of damage up here. A lot of debris was thrown aloft as it went past Mount Vernon, and then it kept working its way to the north through parts of the Delta, and then of course going up towards Choctaw Bluff, where we continue to get some possible damage up this way. And then now we've had another debris signature, then it popped back up, and then now it's kind of falling apart near Grove Hill. Hopefully falling apart for good. We don't know that for sure yet, but the last few frames here, you can watch what happens. I'm rocking it back and forth, and it fell apart right there around Grove Hill. Hopefully that continues to be the case, and we are seeing this thing wind down.
Well, and that rotation still very prominent, though, as what we're seeing with our velocity product. Now, we are looking at this from the Mobile Regional Radar, which was actually down yesterday, and thank goodness that radar site was quickly back up. That's really helpful in this particular situation. And what we have now is that the radar, because of the curvature of the earth, is shooting up into the mid and upper level portion of this supercell thunderstorm. So it's possible that this rotation is on the ground. It's also possible that it is not on the ground. I would treat it as if it is. The other thing we've noted is that it's more of a north-northeast track than a northeast track really here, and it's way too close to Highway 43. We've got it in the Fulton community right now with this rotation coming across the Brooksville Road, I believe, right there. This is Nettleboro here, and we've got Old Highway 5 South here. That's the rural community right there, and so your rotation is going to be just on the east side or very close to Fulton, and then also up near the rural community as well. These are areas that are along Highway 43 or just off of 43 south of Thomasville. Thomasville is included in this tornado warning right now, as well as most of northeastern portions of Clarke County, and there is a bit of a subtle hook signature still showing up here. It's a little hard to see, but also keep in mind that this particular cell is a long ways away from the radar site, and so if you look at it, there is a hook right here, and your rotation area is embedded within that hook. That is not the kind of setup you would want to see. That may be indicative of a potentially still tornado producing thunderstorm here, and it's zipping off to the northeast at about 40 miles an hour. So live coverage here on Fox 10 News this afternoon. We have a confirmed tornado with damage that occurred near Saraland. It may have formed up just a little between Chickasaw and Saraland, close to that 158 and 43 area. Tracked on the ground on and off, mostly on for about 40 to 50 miles. And now the rotation area is currently located on the east side of Highway 43 within a mile or so, tracking very close to Fulton. We've got it up near Old Highway 5 South and Brooksville Road. Next up for this thing is going to be areas just east of Thomasville, and then soon this rotation area is going to be over into Wilcox County. But we may have to go across the east side of Thomasville before it gets there. One of the favorable things that's going on right now, although it's pretty good ways away from the radar, and that is that we're not seeing as well defined of a debris signature in comparison to what we had earlier. Matt kept checking that there. There are two warnings here. Two warnings showing up, two polygons. Matt has some new information from the National Weather Service. He's monitoring National Weather Service chat. And how are things going with that, Matt?
Yeah, we're going to see this box trim back a little bit. I believe the southern end of it south of Grove Hill here before too long. So just something to keep in mind. And it looks like we'll continue that box that is now north there of Grove Hill up towards Thomasville.
So tornado warnings are issued much differently than they were 20 or so years ago. They used to be issued for a whole county, but we all know that tornadoes don't cover a whole county. They're more specific than that. And with the technology that we have, the warnings are now what we call storm-based warnings. And so they issue these polygons, these shapes that show where the rotation is and where it's going specifically. And, you know, if you're in Clarke County and you're saying, hey, I'm in Coffeyville right now, my phone's not going off, what's the deal? Well, typically smartphones go off when you have a warning and you're actually geographically located with your location services on in that spot. And so the warning specifically right now is for Fulton and Thomasville and northeastern Clarke County, and Vashti, Morven, and areas over towards Coffeyville are not included in that. Also want to give out an all clear on some areas. Mobile County, Baldwin County, Monroe County, not included in the warning. The south half of Clarke County is not included in this warning now. Jackson, you are not in any threat for a current tornado. We do have a nasty looking cell coming off of Mobile Bay towards the eastern shore that we're going to have to monitor, because we are in an area that's environmentally favorable for tornadoes today. Obviously, we've had a number of warnings, and then we've got a confirmed tornado, so it's a real deal. I mean, we've got a tornado watch that's very much an active weather situation for us. We've got some pretty nasty looking storms extending down towards Fort Morgan that's coming back into Baldwin County, but no warning up for this area right now. Sometimes these things can pop up with very little warning, and in the case of the Saraland situation, sometimes we don't see the rotation until it's on the ground. So if you're saying, hey, we got no warning, it got to you as quick as things became evident on radar. Sometimes these things form up, and by the time the mechanics of them really get going, it's already on the ground. Looking at the Fulton area here, inbound, outbound velocity, with little broad, but definitely something that is still a situation where we could have a tornado going on. We are looking at Highway 43 right in through here, possibly two little areas that we're watching, one here up around Fulton and another one a little bit further to the south down there around Grove Hill. So possibly two couplets right there of rotation. Tornadoes possible in really in either of those two areas, and it is possible that while we were tracking this across 84, it dissipated and a new circulation has started up slightly back to the west. We've seen that through the history of this tornadic situation. Brooksville Road, Old Highway 5 south, and definitely a severe thunderstorm. It's going to be located very close to the Fulton community, and it's going north-northeast. So it's going to bring it on the east side of Thomasville. Thomasville is included in this warning. You got 5 headed on out towards the east there towards Pine Hill, and so the Choctaw areas up into Wilcox County are not in our forecast area. But if you're in Fulton right now and you've got friends or relatives that live up around Pine Hill, let them know, hey, we had a tornado. We've got a possible tornado right now, and it is headed your way. As much forewarning that you can do there, the better off everybody will be. So folks up here on Highway 10 not able to get us potentially on television, but they are in line. There is Lower Peachtree right there, which is one of the communities I mentioned. I believe that this is going to be a little west of Lower Peachtree once it gets on up into Wilcox County. That is the rural community there. Matt has identified where the main core of the rotation may be occurring. It seems to have slowed a little in its forward speed, and it appears to be located very close to Fulton, Matt, as it's working on off to the north here. And you can see Old Highway 5 south. Might look in a little tighter if some roads pop up here. I know this is not a highly populated area. There are not a lot of big neighborhoods here, but you can see the community of Fulton right there, and we've got a lot of smaller roads. Regency Drive, Old Highway 5 south, also Newman Street, Centerline Road. These are all areas that are located just on the east side of Fulton, and the possible tornado may be a little to the northeast of where we're looking right now, simply because the radar may be a minute or two behind where the actual circulation is. So it's possible it may be a little further on off towards the northeast. But regardless, this is still a very, very significant situation potentially. We've got a rotation area that is showing up and very well defined on Doppler radar, and it's located in far northeastern Clarke County. And this is a very serious weather situation. It's had the history of producing a tornado that started around Saraland. And we're all the way north up here into northeastern Clarke County. A long way for this thing to track. If you just are joining us, we've been showing you pictures. We've got confirmed damage, structural damage. A significant tornado went through the Saraland area. This rotation area produced potentially a lot of tree damage over the delta, very close to the Alabama, the confluence of the Alabama and the Tombigbee rivers, and then tracked up across and just to the west of Choctaw Bluff and Suggsville, Wadley area. Now it's located up here around Fulton. We popped back up some of the pictures just to show you how significant this is. Most of that coming in. We've got our reporter Dacian Smith, who is in the Saraland area, and he's out surveying the damage that is being reported to us. We've had a lot of viewers send in video as well, and also it was some of the reports on social media helping us find where this is located so we can bring you the pictures on air. Certainly a big part of what we do here at Fox 10 News. That is Highway 43, Fulton and Thomasville, and your circulation is located right in through here. This is the storm. Doesn't look real bad as far as the reflectivity, but don't underestimate this thing. It is rotating, and it is now a long ways away from the radar site, and so it's more difficult to pick this up with definition. You can see the pixelation of the radar here beginning to show up, and this is going to be the edge of any capability that we have of being able to see this. Now, it is racing up into Wilcox County. It looks still that if this is going to impact Thomasville, that right now it is on the southeast side of town. And most likely, everything from 43 to the east is in line for a possible tornado in Thomasville, Alabama right now. Clarke County, Thomasville, between Fulton and Thomasville on the east side of 43, there it is right there, still showing, got a new volume scan in right there, still showing strong rotation going on right here. And the tornado could be here or here or here. It may not be exactly precisely where the colors change, but it's going to be very, very close. We've seen persistent rotation around Fulton, and this is going to track up like this towards Pine Hill. So coming out of Thomasville, we got to watch out to the north here for a possible tornado that's going to cross and then work its way up into Wilcox County and possibly even clip a little piece of Marengo County. This is the Clarke County, Marengo County line right here, and then this is the Wilcox Clarke County line located right here. Monroe County, it looks like you're avoiding this so far. So right here is the rural community. The upper end of this area where we're seeing the rotation is where we're most concerned right now, as we believe the rotation, if it is occurring further south, it's eventually going to go in this direction. So this is the area where we're on guard. You've got Old Highway 5 North, which leads out of Thomasville, a pretty significant road, a lot of houses here on this side of town. And you've got that rotation area that's moving up. Atkinson is also another community that may be directly impacted. If you've got people you know over towards Hessel or Culpeper, need to be aware. Also Pine Hill, possible tornado headed your way. Still getting the refreshing of the radar coming in. And so we're still seeing what appears to be very well-defined rotation. Matt, are we getting anything new from the National Weather Service on this rotation area? It certainly looks like we're not seeing as much debris, but it's a long ways away at this point.
Yeah, it's a long ways away. They are noting that the rotation reappeared around Fulton, so it kind of fell apart for a little bit. And then they feel it tightened up a little bit there around Fulton. Still working its way, like you said, up to the north-northeast. Kind of paralleling Highway 43, it looks like, right up Old Highway 5. So that's what we're looking at there. So it's right through, like you said, the rural community, basically paralleling Highway 43, which is strangely enough what this tornado has done the whole time. It's paralleled to Highway 43 all the way from Saraland. So been a very strange situation with this one. We're still getting those pictures in. That what you're looking at there on the right side of your screen, that is the Bamboo Motel in Saraland. Obviously some major structural damage there. I've also received some other video showing some mobile homes that had some damage in and around Saraland. So there has been a decent bit of damage there around Saraland. You can see a lot of folks out there working to pick through the debris, to look and see what's been happening. Obviously searching to see if anybody's been hurt or injured or anything like that. We've gotten no word on anything like that at this point, but we do know we've had a tornado that has been on the ground probably for a very good way. It showed a debris ball pretty much the whole way through, which means it was lofting debris up into the air, which is the sign of a powerful tornado on the ground. Once again, it was kind of a strange, unique situation. These aren't typically what happen. At least this strong of a type of a tornado isn't typically what happens in a landfalling tropical system, but this one's a little different because of what's happening. This storm is dying and dry air is being wrapped around that. And what's happened is that dry air has been punching into the backside of these tropical rain bands, and that has increased the instability. So it shook up the atmosphere, created that instability, and that helped to allow something like this to occur even on a day we're dealing with a tropical storm. So a unique situation, but there is an explanation for it. That is why we have seen this sort of a tornado here on a day like today. And we still have heavy rain bands that we are dealing with as we're waiting for that tornado to finally, or what's left of that tornado to finally to leave northern Clarke County. Still got some very heavy rain in the southern end of Baldwin County and up the eastern shore now. And but improving conditions on the Mobile County side, which is good to see. But once again, the main thing we're keeping an eye on is the current issue that we have with the possibility of a tornado might still be on the ground up here just to the east of Thomasville.
We've been on the air a lot the last day and a half or so, but obviously you can see why. Our coverage here on Fox Hit News, we've been concerned really about three things. We were concerned with Ida, certainly for our neighbors to the west in Louisiana, but we were expecting coastal flooding, which we saw, tides running about 3 feet above normal. A lot of that has subsided, but is still somewhat of a threat. We expected to see flash flooding, and we've seen flash flood warnings up for a long time. Most of the areas experience some type of flooding. And then on top of that, we've been talking about the possibility of isolated tornadoes. Matt just identified some debris, I believe, there as well. So it may be a little marginal, but up here around Highway 5, we may be seeing a tornado back down on the ground. It may have cycled a little bit. This is Thomasville, and this is a much higher populated portion of Clarke County than when it was down in the southern end over the river swamp. And there's a lot going on this side of town. You've got the heart of Thomasville right here. You've got Old Highway 5 North. You've got Round Hill, which this is right on top of Round Hill, if not a little past that, up towards Old Highway 5 North. And then we've got the Atkinson community. And so unfortunately, the threat of tornadoes has materialized in our area this afternoon. This is essentially a long track style tornado, on and off or on the ground for about 75 or so miles, perhaps even longer than that now. And we've got some new information on this one here, Matt. It's
just a slight bit of information. It's kind of how we follow these things through. When we had that big debris signature, it was a confirmed tornado. We had a tornado, confirmed tornado on the ground. Now with the debris signature that's sort of fallen off, they call it a radar indicated tornado warning. So in other words, we don't know for sure if we got something on the ground up here. It's radar indicated, but we're not getting the same debris signature that we were getting earlier. So up here around Thomasville. So hopefully we don't actually have one on the ground at this point. Hopefully we just got some wind gusts that are passing through the town of Thomasville here, and we'll get this one out of here pretty soon.
Yeah, Round Hill there, and then Old Highway 5 North tracking towards Atkinson, a possible tornado, not confirmed, but still exhibiting some fairly significant rotation that's going on here on the east side of Highway 43. And you can see if some of these streets here pop up, this is you. Joe Davis Industrial Boulevard. We've got Quincy Ingram, anything east of Front Street, Old Highway 5 North, Round Hill, some of the roads that leave out to Peachtree as well. We've got all these areas that are included right now in this warning. Very close to right now the Wilcox County line, the Clarke County Wilcox County line. You take 43 north of Thomasville and you get on the north side of Thomasville and the road forks, and in one direction you can get up and head towards Camden on Highway 5, which leads out to Pine Hill, and then you can take a left and go up 43, which takes you up into Marengo County towards Linden. And it looks like this tornado right here is located near Old Highway 5 South, which is tracking towards the Atkinson community, and this is a Doppler radar confirmed to be technically proper here, towards Atkinson. It's had the history of producing damage throughout Clarke County, throughout Mobile County. We do not have any actual pictures of damage in Clarke County, but if you're in Clarke County and you've seen damage in your area, post something on our Facebook page if you can safely do so. We would love to hear from you so we can pinpoint where that damage is, and it'll give us a little more comprehensive view of this story. I would be almost stunned if there was not a tornado on the ground for most of the length of the area on the east side of 43 based on the debris signature that we've seen associated with this one. It is something that's really highly unusual and is usually associated with a very significant tornado. Right now, Thomasville and the east side of town, crossing Highway 5 up near Atkinson, this is our rotation area. If it is not producing a tornado, it's without a doubt a severe thunderstorm, and we may be getting some trees down, some trees snapped here, even if there is not a tornado on the ground. Within the next 10 to 15 minutes, maybe less than that, this circulation is going to be out of our forecast area. It will move up into Marengo County and it will move up into Wilcox County, and we'll go back to programming. But of course, if we get any more reports of tornadoes, see anything going on radar that looks suspicious, we're going to be right here with you on Fox 10 News. We're not going anywhere this afternoon. We've got a full newscast starting at 4 o'clock and also 5 o'clock. And so we're going to continue to watch these rain bands as they're going to be real stubborn to try and kick out of here. With this tropical system meandering up through Mississippi, the low pressure area is still trying to pull moisture off the Gulf, and it's doing it over us. We're the conveyor belt today, and that was anticipated based on the HRRR model that I showed last night. So this is that conveyor belt of moisture. It's coming off the Gulf of Mexico. It's tropical moisture. There's still some spin associated with it because it's been associated with a hurricane, which was a catastrophic hurricane for Louisiana. And that feature is now lifting up into Mississippi. We can see the core of the storm not far away from Jackson. And with it taking this arcing track from Port Fourchon up across Laplace, Hammond, and then up towards Macomb and Jackson, it's going to head up towards Tupelo next, and it's going to keep the moisture going. Now, this rain band right here may work a little to the east as the drier air punches in. But with the gradient of moisture, it's really more acting like a front at this point in time this afternoon. We've got a clash of the air masses going on, which is not purely a tropical process, and then you add in some daytime heating and some instability. So there are a lot of different things going on that are contributing to this long track tornado that has worked through our area. Low pressure associated with Ida here in central Mississippi, then back down across Tupelo, Birmingham, Montgomery. We've got all this moisture, and it's coming right up out of the Gulf. And the one thing I don't like seeing right here, Matt, is look out into the Gulf. We've got some real heavy convection here offshore. Is most likely still going to go onshore, and it's going to happen in Baldwin County, and it's going to happen in Escambia County and push inland from there. So we've got another piece of energy there. To update you on the storm-based polygon warning, the National Weather Service has now placed Grove Hill and Watley in the all clear, and the only thing left in our forecast area that is still under this warning is going to be Thomasville. I also mentioned that far western Wilcox County could be impacted by this, and so Wilcox County is under the warning as well. And we've got this rotation area now in far northeastern Clarke County. While we're bringing you this coverage, we're also getting more video coming in around Saraland, and this is going to be located at Highway 43 and 158, a significant intersection in Saraland. We're very close to that area, and we're getting our reports coming into you live. And if the camera work is not perfect, this is a developing weather situation, and we're just bringing you the pictures as soon as we get them. We're going to have all this edited and put together in a really neat fashion at 4 and 5 o'clock. We're going to have live reports shortly. It looks like Dacian's getting ready to go live, but we're looking at the video, and we just want to bring you the live feed because that's what's happening. That's part of the story. Now, looking at our velocity product, we've got the rotation area now located north and east of Thomasville up here near Atkinson. So it's crossing Highway 40, now to the east of 45. It's crossing Highway 5, and we got Atkinson Road right there. We've got Tutt Road right there, McKinley Circle, and Finley Crossing Road. So we're expecting this to continue to work in the farthest northeast pocket of Clarke County, and it will be here for about the next 5 minutes, and then it's going to be gone and on off to its next destination. Hopefully it is not on the ground. There is the community of Sunny South right there. If you get into southeastern Marengo County, you have the community of Vineland. So this is headed really more east of Clay Hill on 10 over towards Vineland, and then it's going to track from there up towards Lamison, so it's going to work up to the north of Pine Hill, and your rotation area is there. Looking at it on our radar, again, we're a long ways off, but there still may be a little hooking going on. It's subtle, but it would be right in through here. So that would be what's left of the hook signature. When you see a tornado, a lot of times they're at the base of the thunderstorm. So they'll be on the south end, and like in the case we saw with this one and what we're going to potentially see at Vineland, you'll get the heavy rain first, and then on the back edge the winds will increase, and then there's going to be your rotation area moving across Highway 5 and up towards Atkinson. So it looks like we've got Dacian about to go live right now, and so we're going to go ahead and head over to our reporter Dacian Smith, who's live in Saraland. What are you seeing out there right now, Dacian?
Hey Jason, we're still here on Highway 43. We're actually maybe about 2 or 3 blocks away from where we last checked in with you. We're actually at the Plantation Motel right now. You can take a look at some of the damage. You can see the roof off of this building is just completely gone. The windows are shattered. The windows are shattered. People are just walking around here right now, just taking a look at all the damage. If you look over there at that awning, you can see the metal down there just dropped down from that tornado, all that damage. Again, people still just looking around, just taking a look around for the first time. Some of their cars have been damaged. Some of their cars have been damaged. People just taking pictures about where to send to their insurance companies and everything. We haven't been able to talk to anybody yet, but people just looking around, being very careful. If you take a look at all this debris on the ground, this is what's left of this roof that came off this building right here. We see some people taking their stuff out. They're gonna have to leave this place and find somewhere else to stay for the night. But that's what we're seeing right now. We'll of course keep trying to walk around and talk to some more people and let you know if we find out any more information. Jason.
All right, Dacian, we just want to update folks on what we're seeing with this tornado warning right now in northeastern Clarke County. Obviously, significant structural damage there in Saraland. This is not a little small tornado. This was a real deal. And we are still indicating some rotation in northeast Clarke County. Once this warning expires, we're going to stay here with you on Fox 10 News because we've got news crews out and we're going to be covering this from a news angle as well. And looking at it right now, we've got the Atkinson community right here. And so your rotation area is still potentially in the far northeastern part of Clarke County. It's trying to cross over into Marengo County, and it won't be in Marengo County long. It may clip Marengo County, but eventually it's going to catch back up, we believe, with Wilcox County. So if you know anybody here in southeast Marengo County, we've got a tornado or a possible Doppler radar indicated tornado that's had a history from this rotation area producing the kind of damage that you see right there in Saraland, and it is tracking to the north. We will be bringing you some drone footage as well. This is actually a live drone feed, is that correct? Not live. Okay, this is drone video that we're looking at for the very first time in Saraland, and you can see the just significant damage going on with our Fox 10 News drone. We're able to. Okay, this is a viewer drone footage here actually. So we appreciate you sending this in, and we can see the damage, significant structural damage along Highway 43. That is likely going to be a little on the west side looking south based on that drone footage there. So we're cycling this video, we're looping it, we're just getting it in. There's 43 right there, and you've got what appears to be a number of fast food restaurants right there. This is going to be the hotel. Look at all the stuff strewn out around that hotel and behind that hotel there in Saraland. So
yeah. Once again, Jason, just parallel right up 43 there on the east side is what we saw here with this storm. So followed that pretty closely to what we were seeing on the radar at the time.
Yep, right there, that field is littered with debris from the hotel. And that is going to be just on the east side of 43, looking a little to the south. We've got a Hardee's and a McDonald's right here, so that's probably where the system crossed. There's some commercial property right there, and it's where it crossed Highway 43. Matt has it highlighted right here, and this is the tornado when it was occurring at 12:25. This is when we saw the debris. I bet the tornado was on the ground about 12:20. So sometimes the debris signature will lag behind a little bit there. But you've got Shelton Beach Road, and then you've got 158 right here. And then up 43 just on the east side, there's the debris matching up with where we saw the drone footage, which just came in. So bad situation there in Saraland. We saw this going up towards Satsuma. Don't know if it was fully on the ground, but it appears to be the case as we rocket forward just a bit. And there may be some areas with some damage in Satsuma also. It is going to get over here on the east side of Satsuma. This is Dead Lake Marina. So you're up 43 here. And we're going to send it now over to meteorologist Matt Barentine.
You didn't really need to send it to me. I was just going to give you a quick update. They did cancel the tornado warning for Clarke County.
All right, good news there.
Update.
As expected, the tornadic signature, so this is no longer a developing weather situation, but it's now more of a breaking news situation. We are now no longer under a tornado warning in our area. So the tornado warning for Clarke County has been discontinued as the circulation has moved out of our area. Now we are looking back in time. So if you're in Saraland or Satsuma, don't be alarmed. This is not right now. This is what was happening at 12:20, about 2 hours of possible tornado on the ground in our area this afternoon. So we saw the very beginnings of this forming up just south of 158. There's the first sign of debris right there. And then at the next frame at 12:22, and then the possible tornado riding up on the east side of Saraland. Once it gets up here towards Gunnison Creek, it starts working out towards the delta. It doesn't take long when you get east of 43 in Satsuma and you're getting out into the heart of the delta. Most likely this crossed over I-65 at the beginning of the Dolly Parton Bridge, and then we see it going up here. There's Sugar Hill Circle, so we have this going up above Dead Lake, tracking up Mobile River as it's moving up on the east side of Salco. So now you're getting up to the north near Berry Steam Plant, crossing the Tombigbee River here, and then tracking up to the north as it's getting up. Well, actually, it's still going up the Mobile River at this point. Very significant debris over the delta to the east of Mount Vernon. So it's going to be near Tensaw, Hubbard's Landing area. Then it gets to the north up towards Dixie Landing. A lot of debris aloft here. If we had a tornado here, which we believe we did, it would have been right along the conjunction of the Alabama and the Tombigbee River down here off of Tensaw, the Bradley Road area, and then getting off the back end of TJ Earl and Coughlin roads and close to Dixie Landing. And then now it's into Clarke County, and it's still going across the river swamp near Howes Lake, Singleton Lake, Doctors Lake, and then to the west of Choctaw Bluff, more debris showing up here near Oil Well Road, and then it started to head up towards Suggsville. So we saw the tornado continuing northeast, tracking towards 84, headed for Watley. Still very prominent debris aloft here. Strong rotation was indicated on the radar at this point. We saw it fizzle, and then new debris began to appear near Fulton as this rotation area moved to the north and possibly got going again near the Fulton area. And then we tracked debris all the way up towards Highway 5, and now the circulation is out of the area. So that is a long way for this tornado to have tracked across the forecast area. If you're concerned about the weather, and you should be today because it is potentially tornadic at times, we're getting a redevelopment of some showers into Greene County. Mobile County is looking better. We have light rain down in the south part of the county, and then we have a new area of thunderstorms coming into Baldwin County presently. And the tornado warning is been canceled, but the tornado watch is currently in effect. We've got the Foley area here, and on the west side of Foley around Fairhope and Daphne, we're looking at a lot of rainfall that is very heavy right here. We have the potential of issues there. We're also bringing the live pictures of what's going on there in Saraland, and we're getting that ready for you for a full report coming up on Fox 10 News at 4. Up into Monroe County right now, we're still getting very heavy rain near the Alabama River at Claiborne, and that's tracking up towards Monroeville as it's moving on off towards the northeast. So a lot of different things going on here. In fact, I want to look at Doppler radar estimated precipitation. Looks like we've got some better pictures here too of what's going on and what happened in some of those hotel rooms right there. Terrible. Roof completely gone, bed flipped upside down, windows blown out. We're just bringing all this to you live. You can see insulation and parts of the roofing and some of the studs from the walls all blown out into the parking lot. Sheetrock hanging down. Well, you can see that piece of sheetrock right there with the popcorn texture on it there. And then looking at the inside of that hotel room, looks like somebody might have been in that hotel room and their stuff's likely strewn around. So awful situation there for folks who are staying in the hotel in Saraland on Highway 43. Is that the Bamboo Hotel?
Plantation, I believe. That's the Plantation.
Plantation Hotel.
Believe.
Yeah, we've got Byron Day in the studio as well watching this. And you can see there's some tree damage going on mixed in with this too. And that may have been more problematic further to the north and east. Yeah. And you've got some folks that the tornado looks like it clipped one part of the hotel, but maybe a little less so much on the other side of it, Byron.
Yeah, Jason, as you said, the roof just ripped off that motel that sits right there off the side of Highway 43 in Saraland, not too far from 158. That's the industrial parkway there in Saraland. This area right here, as you mentioned, has a lot of fast food restaurants around that area. University of Mobile is just to the west of this location, but this is one of those motels that the front door opens right up onto the parking lot. So like you said, you know, somebody that's staying there, a lot of what they have is right there in that front room, and this is just devastating. And I know Dacian Smith, who's out there on the scene for us, has been trying to talk to some of the people that are there, just trying to gather their belongings, but of course it's very dangerous to try and do so because the building, what's left of it, could collapse if they go in there. So right now, a very, very dangerous situation at this Plantation Motel right off Highway 43 in Saraland, right there by State Highway 158, if I can remember correctly. That's the industrial parkway there in Saraland. It's a connector between Sims and Saraland, as a matter of fact. So that's where this motel is, but also there's other damage around this area. And then you did say, Jason, or who's over? Okay, Matt is here now, that the tornado just from here went northward and is still rotating. Is that what we're saying now?
Well, it's moved out of our viewing area.
Okay.
There is still some rotation up in Wilcox County. moving away, but we are out in the clear in our viewing area. So that's the good news right now at the moment. Now, the Weather Service is saying they're keeping an eye on some other storms in and around Greene County, over around George County as well, in southeast Mississippi. So there's some other ones to watch out for. And we see on the screen, this is live stuff, folks. This is one of our Dacian Smith. He's getting a tour, it looks like, from somebody there.
Yeah, and it looks like somebody that was in that, is that a restaurant? I can't really tell. But yeah, it looks like a restaurant there in the motel itself. And boy, if we can get to Dacian, love to talk to this guy because it's like he was there. Okay, let's take Dacian's audio live right now. Okay, all right, we've lost audio. We're going to try and get it back because obviously this gentleman, the way he is enacting, he might have been right there in that room when the tornado hit. And you know, we got this tornado warning about 12:30. Here we go. Let's go to Dacian now.
Were you here when all this happened?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
I was standing right at the window. The wind started coming, and I was just looking out the window, watching the rain, and it started getting real heavy. I turned around to grab a cigarette. I had my cigarette sitting right there, and as soon as I turned around, the whole roof just exploded. Everything started to come flying in. I jumped from there, laid in the bathtub, and just waited it out. When I came up out, I didn't know what to think. This is my first, I'm from Pennsylvania. This is my first tornado, you know.
About how long did all that last, would you say, while you were sitting in the bathtub?
It felt like 5 minutes, but it might not have even been that. You know, it felt like a lot longer. You know, at the moment, a lot of stuff was going through my mind, like, what's the next step? You know, I'm in the tub, but am I really secure in the tub? So I just covered myself up and waited it out. I came up out, heard commotion going on, and so I stepped outside and made sure everyone was all right.
What was your first thought when you were able to step out of your room and just kind of take a look at the rest of the property out here?
It was didn't know what to say. Didn't have the words to say. It was astonishment. I was astonished at what had happened. There's a vehicle right here that I'm driving. You know, that's not a scratch on it. A little bit of debris here, but everything it all vacuumed into right here, and it sounded like 2 grenades going off.
We've seen everybody out here since the tornado passed kind of just, you know, taking a look at the damage to the rooms, their cars, kind of taking what they can. What's that next step look like for you? Somebody else we talked to said this community is pretty much like a family. Everybody's going to look out for each other.
Absolutely. You know, it's nothing but kind and caring people around here. Next step for me is off to another hotel, motel until I can find something a little more permanent. I relocated down here from the north just to get out of the snow. I traded in snow for tornadoes and hurricanes. So we're gonna have to rock it like that and keep on.
Thank you very much. Again, that's just one person who's been out here kind of taking a look at all the damage. They're able to check out their rooms, their cars, and the rest of the property really for the first time. Somebody else that we spoke to before him said that everybody's really just the hardest part about all of this is everybody's just going to have to take what they can and find somewhere else to stay, not just for the night, but for going forward. But as you heard there, this place really is known for being like a community. So him and the gentleman we spoke with earlier said that they're all just kind of going to pick up the pieces and then move forward together. Everybody's going to look out for each other. Everybody's going to make sure that everybody's taken care of as far as where they go from here. So that's what we're looking at right now. Again, still pretty busy out here. There's a lot of damage to go through and a lot of debris. Everybody's being real careful where they step, what they touch, what they grab, and just trying to see what they're able to take going forward. But that's a look at what's going on here, Byron.
Well, Dacian, while I've got you here, what did he say? There was no audio at the beginning when you were talking to him. Did he hear the sirens going off, the warnings going off? Did he just hear the tornado? How did he know that he needed to take cover in that bathtub?
He said he was pretty much just laying here, just relaxing and just staring out of his window, watching it rain. And then the next thing you know, he heard that sound, kind of like he said, those 2 grenades going off. He heard that sound. He heard all the wind coming through, and he knew that he had to get up and go somewhere safe. So he went in his bathtub and took cover. And then that's when all the damage started happening. That's when the tornado touched down here and went through this property and kept on going down the road. So it wasn't any siren or anything. It was just what he saw and what he heard while he was really just sitting here just trying to relax in his room for a little bit.
Do we know if anybody was hurt in that motel? I know we've only been there a few minutes, but do we know if anybody was hurt?
The person we spoke to first is actually someone who lives and works here. He said that somebody around here was injured, but it was minor. They weren't even taken to the hospital. It was minor. He didn't say what kind of injury it was, but it was something minor. It was something that they were able to take care of right here and there. Haven't been able to find that person, but that's the only injury that we know of so far, Byron.
All right, Jason Smith, thanks very much. I want you to stay right there, please. About 5 minutes ago, you talked to another eyewitness, and we've got that sound right now.
Tell me what you saw when the tornado touched down.
A lot of wind, and when it hit everything at one time. But when it calmed down, then we come around here and look, everything was tore up.
About how long did it last?
About a few minutes.
No, what did it sound like when it touched?
A train come through.
I'm sorry, what?
Like a train.
Sound like a train?
Yeah.
Do you know if anybody...
I got one injured back here, but he's all right.
Okay, was he taken to the hospital already?
No, he wasn't taken to the hospital.
Okay, but just minor?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me right now, everybody's kind of looking around.
They're making sure what they could do about the stuff in here. They're going to try to figure out where they can live at.
Okay, just talk to me about, how devastating it is to walk out here and see all this damage.
Well, I know my boss don't like it. I don't like it because it makes it hard on everybody. Because everybody's got to stick together,
And talk to me a little bit about, everybody here is going to have to, take their stuff, find somewhere else to stay. Just talk to me about, how difficult that is right now.
It's going to be difficult because half of them don't have ways. They don't have no way of going nowhere. They're walking. And the other ones, their vehicles get damaged and everything. So other than that, we just look after each other.
And that's exactly what y'all are about to do. Y'all are about to kind of grab your stuff, regroup, and look out for each other.
That's it. Everybody try to stick together. Just like a big family.
All right, that was our Jason Smith there at the Plantation Motel right off Highway 43 with another victim just a few minutes ago. Another victim talking about what he saw, what he heard, and the fact that that tornado just touching down and ripping apart that motel. Such a telling word from another gentleman we just talked to who is literally moving from Pennsylvania to Mobile County. He said, I wanted to trade the snow in. Now I've got a hurricane and a tornado. So just a absolutely ironic statement for that man to make, who did survive this tornado that dropped down on the Plantation Motel there in Saraland. Let's bring Jason Smith back in. He's here in the studio with me. And Jason, I know there's other damage around this, and I also know that I believe the tornado warning has been cleared for Mobile County. Is that accurate?
That is definitely accurate, Byron. We are no longer under a tornado warning. In fact, right now I'm going to transition here from the weather pod over to the studio. This is developing breaking news and weather situation here today, so it's a work in progress. Bear with us. This map I'm about to show you right here, we'll bring it up full, shows the advisories that we're currently under. And there is a flash flood warning that's currently in effect here for Washington County and Clarke County. And that also includes northern Mobile County and northern Baldwin County. So that area right there is under a flash flood warning. We are under a flash flood warning for Mobile, and we're also in a flash flood warning right now for Jackson County, Mississippi. The rain's gotten lighter here, which is good, but flash flood warnings are typically issued for a long duration. The yellow is the entire area, and our entire area is going to remain under a tornado watch. We've had some redevelopment on the back side of this, and there's now a tornado warning, but not for our local area, just outside our area. Wayne County, right now, including the community of Waynesboro, and this could technically clip northwestern Washington County, so it's going to have to be monitored, but it appears to be moving to the north. I've got some radar views to show you here. You've got very heavy rain right now in southern Baldwin County. We've got moderate showers going on, which are not tornadic at this time, up through Monroe County and Connecticut County. And then we've got some new cells firing in Greene County. The National Weather Service has been watching these. One is near Sandhill. The other one's right here, north of Sandhill in Wayne County, and that is what has prompted the tornado warning there. We are looking at moderate showers here where we had a tornado warning earlier. That is associated with the cell, or the back edge of the cell that produced the tornado warning in our entire area coming up from Saraland. It's now up into Wilcox County. And the rotation area right now in Wayne County that has prompted the tornado warning there is along Highway 63. It is north of Sand Hill, and it's located right there. So not in our forecast area, just north of Greene County in Wayne County and tracking northeast. It looks like it'll stay out of Washington County, and it's going to track up across Wayne County, pardon me on that, Wayne County, and then ultimately get up here around 84, and it could end up in Choctaw County. So this is Choctaw County right here, and we may see this rotation area clip Choctaw County. But there is a tornado warning for Wayne County. If you're in Greene County or in Washington County, or you know anybody up around Waynesboro, this thing looks like it's going to go right up 63 into Waynesboro. And there's an update on that volume scan still right there showing the signature of a possible tornado. So very active today, and that's associated with this cell here that is going towards the northeast. We are still getting very heavy rainfall in Baldwin County right now, and it's not an easy scenario. And with there being that tornado possibility in the area today, we're going to have to be monitoring Baldwin County for rotation 2. We're getting a lot of heavy rain down in the south part of the county. Rainfall totals. We were predicting 7 to 11 inches of rain here on Fox 10 News as Ida was approaching, and that has unfortunately materialized. In fact, we've exceeded that in Jackson County, and this is Doppler radar estimated over the last 48 hours over a foot of rain near Moss Point and up towards Escatawpa, and working back up just off to the east of Hurley. And then in the general direction of Tanner Williams, we've seen 11.3 inches of rain there, way out Airport Boulevard from there up to the north towards Tanner Williams. And then, Citronelle picking up about 9 inches of rain. We've seen Doppler radar estimates of about 9.5 inches of rain on the north side of Bay Minette and up towards Stockton. So it has been a super soaker for us as expected. Heavy rainfall event. So we're seeing that there. We're going to go back to Byron Day to take a look at what's happening there in the area. And Byron?
All right, Jason, thanks very much. We're going to send you back to regular programming right now. Of course, we're going to be updating the story throughout the afternoon, beginning with Fox 10 News at 4. Stay with Fox 10 News, the very latest on this tornado, which has touched down in Saraland. We'll see you then.